Hi, and welcome to Plat Valorant. I'm your host, Mimi, and joining me today are Wyatt, Josh, and Bala. Today we're going to talk about the newest episode of Valorant and all the hilarious moments it has in store for us. Sideshow, what are you most looking forward to in this episode? And now you're supposed to say, well, Mimi, I'm excited to see what crazy antics the characters get up to in this episode. I think there's a new map and some new weapons to try out. I can't wait to see what kind of mayhem ensues. Bala, what about you? And Bala is looking forward to see how the community reacts to the new episode. Valorant has such a dedicated fan base, and I can't wait to see what they have to say about it. Now I say, that's right. And we'll be sure to discuss all the funny moments and highlights from the new episode. So get ready for some laughs and a good time as we dive into the newest episode of Valorant. Let's get started.
And is that chat GPT?
No, that's me. It's all me.
Oh, that was just all you.
That's my original writer.
I'll tell you what. I've been following a lot of the like AI art stuff that's been going around, and I don't think artists have anything to worry about, particularly in terms of the AI rising up and stealing their jobs. But Mimi, when you started talking there, I could feel a cold drip of sweat going down the back of my neck because I could see the end of us.
Trouble.
My thought was, what if we did like the analyst desks for Valorant with all chatbots? So recently, I posted a Twitter thread where I told the AI to explain why ACS is the best metric to derive a player's worth. And it got like 2,000 likes, and most people thought it was sincere. And apparently, one of the Valorant journalist people, Bo, said that people on TikTok were making TikToks about the fact that ACS is apparently a really good metric now. So all you have to do is just make the AI do your tweets for you.
Wait,
and it works really well.
That sounds like you've irreparably put back the reputation of analysis in Valorant by at least a year.
Yes.
You've single-handedly caused people on TikTok to go backwards.
But I got 2,000 likes.
It's unbelievable. Slinky was right. Slinky was right. It's just all about the clout with you, Mimi.
Fuck.
I'm reading. I was reading the tweet, and it just explains what. I mean, we knew this. This is exactly what ACS. I mean, it's just saying what ACS is.
The thing is, it doesn't even explain it right. In the first tweet, it explains what KDR is. It doesn't even explain what ACS is.
Yeah, I mean, ACS literally does not take the total number of deaths of a player and divide it by the number of rounds. I mean, that is specifically, I mean, this is misinformation on the internet perpetuated by one of the experts who doesn't disclose that it's actually an AI bot. I mean, it is a coordinated misinformation campaign designed to pervert the brains of the average TikTok Valorant viewer. It's nonsense.
Awesome.
Yeah. Great, wonderful. Thank you.
When I spread misinformation.
Yeah. All right. So we got a bunch of stuff to go through here, but I think more importantly, somebody who occasionally graces Plat Chat put out a pretty disgusting tweet that I think that we need to address because here we like to call out people that have unacceptable behavior. Yeah. And
that's right.
And Wyatt, I'm afraid to say, when Silly's been at it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm aware because I sent.
Don't fucking show this to me.
I sent this.
Don't show this to me.
First of all,
we have to play the video. Just look at this.
I mean, yeah, this is shocking scenes already.
Yeah.
Now, you could play it, Kurt. We can let him speak.
Vansilli is one of the nicest people I know, but he's also the most wrong person.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, grilled on both sides, toasted, chicken noodle soup, dipped in. The ketchup doesn't leak. The bread's a bit soggy. It's hot.
God, that's just not good, is it? I apologize for all the viewers that have just thrown up in their mouths.
The eating audio at the end is fucking awesome, though. Just it's
Minecraft eating noise.
Oh my god. I mean, I remember he was telling Mike and I about that on a stream, and we were blown away. But this is a common thread with Vince.
It really is a common thread.
He has just absolutely absurd eating patterns.
This is the man that frequently...
That might be the craziest.
Those pieces of toast have been used on his cheeks as a face warmer beforehand. He said that's something he frequently does, is he puts his bread in the toaster, and when it comes out, he uses it to warm his cheeks. I think it's horrendous.
I mean,
It did teach me though that ketchup doesn't displace when it's in
Oh, it
much-
will. You do
Ketchup
it
is
enough time,
hydrophobic.
it'll fucking fall in that soup.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys know he also eats pizza crust first, like backwards.
Yeah,
There's a
we've-
video out there of him doing that too.
No,
That's a
we-
classic one.
But that's just idiotic.
we gave
that's
a solid
not
30-minute segment on that.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
here.
yeah.
We gave that half an episode, damn near. I think we deep dove into that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
is next level.
this
It
is
wouldn't even be good without the soup, mate. When you look at that sandwich, no, you don't. No, you don't have to show it again. You don't have to show it
You
again.
don't have to show it again.
Don't
But it
show it
wouldn't
again.
even be good without the soup.
But
I
that
mean,
is some of the.
My question is now, like, as his friends, as
I
his
mean-
colleagues, what can we do to
Stop,
help him?
man.
Is there anything we can do to help stop this man? Like, I feel like there's some like duty
Mimi, he's
that we
like
have.
50 years old. It's over. Like, you can't change
Is he just beyond saving?
It's
Yes.
too far.
Am I
been doing it
naive
his
to
whole
think we
life.
can help him?
no. What you need to do is, so instead of trying to alter Vansili's behavior, when Vansili operates in a sphere of influence that touches people younger than him that can be changed, target them instead. Target the people in the sphere of influence. Don't target Vansili. He's too far gone. He's too corrupted.
Oh my god! Yeah,
okay.
that is just the filthiest glizzy goblin I've ever seen. But go on, Josh. Let's move on.
There was a new teaser for the new map posted on the Valorant Twitter, and it looks like an episode of Plat Chat with Bren in it. It's
What does
like,
that mean?
look at it. Look at the picture. Look at the picture. This is an episode of Plat Chat when me and Bren turn up late and we haven't got enough sleep the night before. And,
Wait, this
and we're
literally
discussing
looks like the
patch notes.
unreleased episode from Istanbul, where we were just continually getting more and more food as it went on.
Yeah.
Actually true.
This is what the unreleased episode looks like. And also a good reminder that I need to finish editing that because I definitely said that I was going to. Yeah, so this was a new map. It's based in El Salvador. And for some reason, everyone seems to hate it here. I don't know why.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Based on this image.
I mean, look at him. Look at Phoenix. He looks miserable. And Neon's
yeah, that
falling
is-
asleep.
Yeah, they probably. I mean, that's a good
Killjoy's lost
point,
her
isn't it?
hat.
It's just
She's
jet
been
lag.
robbed?
It's just jet
I mean, the
lag.
question is why? Look how nice this place looks. Yours reading a book. They have fucking pastries. They have, it looks like iced coffee or something going on here. Like, this looks like a really pleasant breakfast. And all these Valorant agents are just too entitled to care.
Yoru should
Sad.
take his top off. Because it's hot out. Because it looks hot out. And because it looks why they're on the beach.
So-
and they're wearing jackets.
So why did you
that
single
would
out...
get the people that I'm because
Why'd you single out your room?
Because
Three of them are
because
wearing
it's
jackets.
Japan.
because I
again,
know what
of
the
course.
people want. I could have gotten this a lot more likes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so
sorry.
why would it's so it's just so they're on the beach.
Yeah.
Take off your jacket.
What is on the phone in the front there? Phoenix.
That
Phoenix
is
calling?
peak narcissism and exactly what I could expect of Phoenix. Actually, that's his twin brother. He's really attached to him.
Well, doesn't he actually have another person that is Phoenix in the world or whatever?
Yeah,
Is that
the
whole point of
Omega
Valorant?
Phoenix or whatever.
What? So you think he's got a picture of his rival from the second dimension
Yeah, the dude
as
who
his
keeps
background on
killing
his
him or
phone?
whatever. No, somebody's calling him. You could see the phone call.
No, it's Brimstone calling him. He's got a missed call from Brimstone. That's what that
Brimstone?
says.
How the fuck can you see that? I just see pixels.
No, it's definitely Brimstone.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
Kurt told me,
okay.
so I believe it completely.
It's
What is
definitely
the book?
Brimstone.
What are we reading?
It's
This is a travel guide.
Mimi, you
Travel
turn into
guide.
Hercule Poirot as soon as you open up an image and enhance it.
I feel like this is like the spot the different game image. It's like there's so many weird details that it's gotta be a spot the difference game image. Or like where's Waldo or something.
Yeah, but there's no differences because no one's ever posted the image before. So I think it really falls flat right there, I think.
New agent?
Yeah, that
Everyone
person
in this
looks
picture's
like
a new agent?
one of those
Oh, yeah.
images where people think there's a time traveler in a photo from 1930. Someone's
You know,
anyway.
people have been
how
saying-
long are we going to deep dive in this?
people have been saying
and
for a
why
while
are
that
people
there's,
so passionate about it?
there's no good analysis on Plat Chat anymore. Well, just show them that, show them that segment, deep dive into every pixel. So the reason, though, that they're teasing a new map, and it's quite important at the moment, is because they've already made the shifts to the map rotation. We know that whatever the new map is, it's coming in. I mean, we knew that anyway, because that's just how it works. But they've already specified that Bind and Breeze are out.
Thank the fucking Lord.
Which
I'm gonna go against Wyatt. And I'm gonna go crazy.
Maybe don't be a
think
contrarian just to be a contrarian. Don't be.
I'm not being a contrarian just to be a contrarian. I want Breeze to die at any cost. And if we have to lose Bind, which is one of my favorite maps, and also one of my favorite maps to watch in pro play, I think Bind is awesome and lit and fun, and there's a good amount of variety, but Breeze sucks. And this isn't just because I cannot aim in ranked. It's because I feel like the map is just like, I don't know. It feels so flippy and so like chaotic a lot of the time. And I don't know. I want some kind of change to happen to it. I want Breeze to be better. I want new horizons. So I'm glad it's gone. But I think Bind being out is a bit of a travesty. I think Bind is a really good map. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it could use some work, but I think in its current state, it is significantly better for Breeze. If 2 were to die, I would have liked it to be Icebox and Breeze dying. But I'll take this sacrifice to get Breeze out of here.
Can you imagine the Viper molding that would have happened if they'd taken out both Icebox and Breeze at the same time from the map pool? that would have been something fairly excellent to witness. So yeah, it is interesting though, the point you bring up about Breeze, because I feel like a lot of people have a lot of problems with Bind, Breeze, and Icebox. I feel like those different portions of the Valorant community hate one of those maps intensely and are convinced that it's the worst map and needs to be removed. And one of the big reasons I hear brought up for Breeze, and Anders tweeted about this as well when it came out, is that even the best teams on Breeze can't really get like big long records and dominance going on the map. It does tend to be, according to the data apparently, though I haven't seen the data, is it does tend to be more coin flippy than the other maps, probably just because it involves more kind of duels, so you're like forced to take them at various points. But I kind of liked Breeze because it has at least different ways that you can approach the map. You see different teams doing different things. It has like 4 lanes that you can go and explore. I kind of liked it, and it wasn't just even a permanent chamber map. I mean, okay, this Paper X comp was a bit bonkers, but even Fnatic tried to run this actually as well, so or something similar with the breach of
really
the
cool
Neon.
stuff with it.
There was a bunch of neon comps at the end of last year too. Like there was a bunch of neon comps.
Like stage 1 of this year too. Like in NA, like FaZe started it, I think, and then like a bunch of teams started trying it. EG was trying it for a bit. Like Breeze definitely had like more variety to the compositions than say like Icebox, which I think that's the biggest reason that like people are like Icebox needs to die, because the compositions have been fairly stale this year, even though I don't think that's entirely fair, because I think we've seen cases for quite a bit of variety
as well, though. Bind has been a you run a Smoker, probably Brim and Viper, and then you run lots of initiators kind of map for a long time. I mean,
I feel like there's been a lot of maps. Like I think most maps in Valorant, except maybe Ascent, where we probably see the most variety, can in a way be seen as like having like that one major comp that gets like pulled into. Like I think Fracture at this point, you see like pretty usual comps with like single controller Brim. I guess you do get variety sometimes with the Sage comps coming in, but I feel like most maps at this point have like 2 main comps that people like move between, and maybe the duelist switch, maybe you swap a Neon for a Raze or something, but I don't know. I don't think that's a reason in and of itself to get rid of Bind over something else.
What's the overall feel here for the maps going out? Bind and Breeze. Overall feel.
Okay. This is what I have to say.
The truth. Speak the truth.
Okay.
Don't answer the question. Just speak the truth, because I know you're about to fucking spit facts.
Bind getting removed at this point, I am fine with. It has been in the game for fucking ever.
Yeah.
We have seen everything under the sun that could be done on that map with the agents that exist in the game. Also, personally, I would like to see a lot of it reworked, because I don't think it's particularly fun, especially to play. I'm not a big fan of playing in ranked. Don't think it's a great. I just don't think it's a great map. I think it's been in the game forever. We've seen everything that can be done on it. Cool. Time to move on. Okay? I'm fine with that. Here's the thing with Breeze. Why would we take out Breeze instead of Icebox? They literally have the same problems, but one of them has been in the game for like a year longer.
But Icebox has had significant
exactly.
change within that
my
year.
thoughts exactly.
I did have this exact same reaction.
We've been seeing the exact same Groundhog Day shit on Icebox for years. How?
I don't think that's fair.
Straight up.
I'm going to be an Icebox defender. I think stuff has been
is that not
changing.
fair?
People have been trying Fade Raise comps. People have been trying Killjoy. People have been changing. There is some variety, not a huge amount of variety, I'll admit.
Came out at the
like,
very beginning, and
I know,
people
but,
trying
like, people
Fade.
have been-
She's the new. She's
I don't
the
think
new thing. The
to
new
me,
agent.
it's not about the comp though. It doesn't matter what comp you have. You always approach the map in the same way.
Yes.
It really
is fair.
doesn't matter. You can put whatever agents you like in there. It doesn't change your actual macro approach to how you play the map at all. And that to me is a massive problem. That was what Kaplan posted a thread about it as well, the Sentinels strategic coach. And I agreed with everything he was saying there.
And I think if you do want to talk about agents though, on Breeze, I think with Chamber getting nerfed, there's gonna be a lot more open opportunity for different approaches with different Sentinels. You know, more Cypher gameplay, kind of mixing shit up there, and I think there's going to be more room to experiment there. Where on Icebox, if you're not playing Chamber, if you want to Sentinel, we're going back to Killjoy, which we saw for a year, right? So I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, this.
I mean,
This
I've been
period.
reveling. I've been reveling in being a hater and watching the downfall of Breeze. But I think that everything Kaplan says is very true. I mean, Icebox is just like, oh, we're gonna do a drone into a wall and we're gonna hit B on attack, or we're gonna go fast A and scale the site together, and maybe occasionally we'll throw in a mid hit, but it's nothing super crazy ever on that map. Breeze has a lot of difference. I think it is also good for the pool to have that kind of like aim check map that even the best teams won't always win on, because it can be a little bit flippier. I think in competitive play, it is really, really fun to watch Breeze sometimes, even just more casually, because that is where you can see a lot of crazy upsets and a lot of stuff happen. And I don't think it's bad to have a map like that in the pool. I'm still glad it's gone because I think it needs some changes, but I do agree that I think Bind should have lived and Icebox should have died. I think Bind is. I think we get more enjoyable games and variety on Bind, in my opinion, than Icebox.
I want to talk and pivot this to Split, though. I mean, we can mold all we like, or maybe can celebrate all she likes.
I'm not
but
molding.
the deed has been done. Icebox has dodged the removal 3 times in a row now, but Split twice in a row.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
It is.
it's just
No
Calm
molding.
the mold.
Get another
Calm
year.
the mold. I want to talk Split. I want to give Split just a little piece of time here. They're reintroducing it. They've confirmed there are some changes. I think maybe we don't want to get too much in the weeds of like, what are the exact changes you want to see? But are there any broad strokes things you would like to see? And just as a feel, how much do you think the map needs to change when it comes back in? Do you think it was always a pretty good map? It just needed to come out for a bit, and now, you know, it can be reintroduced with like some small angle tweaks? Or does it need a fundamental, you know, redesign of how a whole half of the map works in order to be fun again?
I think the issue with Split is that in pro play and for the viewing experience, it's super based. But when you're playing it in ranked and you're trying to hobble together you and 4 brainlets to hit a site and like take control up like into B heaven and shit, it's just impossible. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's so hard to play in ranked at times that it just, I mean, come on, we all know the feeling of when you queue into Split for like the second time in a row and you see her starting on attack, just
Sadness.
you just know it's over. You know you're going down 10-2 and you have to come back. Like it's just so
the point of the
frustrating.
map, though, from a like conceptual point of view, is in the definition of the name. It's supposed to be a map where you can't really, or it's very difficult to 5-hit through the main choke point, right? You're supposed to be encouraged to take map control elsewhere and split into sites, and you know that's why mid is very important. That's why the choke points when you enter B and enter A are really tight. If they just make those wide and make 5-hitting easier so that it's more fun to play in ranked, does that defeat the point of the map, or could it really still be itself and a very good map to add to the pool with that change? Where do you come down on that?
I don't want to see them change the mains. I think the way it is right now, where mid control is heavily emphasized and kind of necessary most of the time on the attack, is actually pretty solid. I think the biggest problem area for me on the map is vents, because right now I feel like it's really hard to orchestrate. I'm trying to think. I think that's the A side. Yeah, I think it's really hard to make A splits happen,
How long has it been
particularly on.
since you played Split, Mimi?
I perennially forget which side of the map is each, so I have to like think in my head. It's like people who don't know which side is left and right and have to like hold up these things. That's not me though. I know my left from the right. Just for the record here. Just for the record here, guys. L for left. This is my left side. But just for the record here, I know my left from my right. But you have to think you're a defender, and the left side of you is A. So I had to do that in my head really quick. But that's all besides the point. I think that vents is the area that needs the most work. I think particularly in ranked, it's really hard to make like A splits happen. And thinking back to like the pro play at the end of split, it was almost always we're defaulting space in mid. And this is like ancient Kurt. We're like defaulting space in mid and then going down and breaking the sentinel utility inside of vents. I think if vents was opened up a little bit more and could allow faster plays to split through mid, similarly to how A heaven or B heaven works right now, I think that could really help making the map feel a little bit more better for attackers, because right now I think it's a little too easy for defenders to just keep A heaven control and just win every round on A by like kind of cutting the hit.
Okay. One of the things I always wanted to see was them connect A ramp down to sewers in a way that was easier for teams to go and create some A ramp pressure and still connect with the rest of their team. I think at the moment you need A ramp pressure, but then that player is just so isolated from the rest of the team that it really becomes difficult to do anything with them. But we'll see what they've done. I mean, I really have no concept of whether or not they're going to go in a crazy way with Split or whether they're just going to make minor changes and reintroduce. But it's going to set an interesting precedent for the future. Like when Bind and Breeze come back, how much do you expect them to be changed? I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Split being introduced again to give them an idea for that. So the massive stuff that's happened, though, this week is a patch that's essentially like rewritten the way that a lot of the interactions work in the game. It's also the big chamber nerf patch. So we've split these patch notes into two to discuss chamber to start with, because the rest of the shit is like so large that we need to give it its own space. So there are massive nerfs happening to chamber. How does this push him around in the meta? To me, it looks like he has been bonked with a big stick, and it's going to be difficult to get the same level of global value out of him that made him insanely good on the defense side. Well, actually on the attack side as well. But let's run through it. So Headhunter, the spread has been increased after the second bullet. So you can't really spam body shot or spam and then get a lucky headshot on the fourth bullet or whatever, which was pretty common actually when you watch people using the Headhunter. Does that change? Does that move the needle on its own?
Not at pro play. I don't think it's that common at pro play. I think you only saw ranked players like spamming your shit. I mean, every once in a while it would happen, but it's still not even changed that much to where, like, if you're close range, you're not gonna get the kill anyways. At pro play, it's still you're tapping. So.
All right, so Headhunter, not the biggest nerf. So
didn't change the fucking pullout time, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. So then you get to this massive change with how chamber works. And the rendezvous has changed. So the radius has increased. So his the area that you can play it around your teleporter is much larger, but you only have one of them, and you go back to the center of it. So you can max teleport 13 meters instead of, I don't even know what the hell the max range was previously because you had two different anchors. You could teleport all the way around the map. You could get some crazy shit going on. And you can't pull out your gun quite as easily when you teleport, stuff like that. I think just watching a video is a much better way of thinking about this, but it means essentially that you can hunt down the chamber if you hear him teleport away. He's going to be within range to actually try to punish. Is this a big enough difference to make chamber much more difficult to play against?
To make it more difficult to play against?
Sorry, to make him easier to play against.
It's over! Finally, bro. It's 100%. I mean, you have a single TP, so you're not going to be able to do like super fast rotates or anything like that. And you're localized to the one TP, so it's very obvious where you're going, and it's very close to where the opponents might be. There's few places where you could actually get like a safe TP off anymore, and maybe that's one of them, but you're like literally pushing for it. And then you combine that with the rest of the changes as well, which we haven't gotten to, but it is very, very much more difficult to play around and to come up with some good TPs.
Yeah, I think new chamber TP is almost like with like the range it has, it feels more like it's like an instant omen TP to get out, or like kind of like a your TP compared to like the like crazy good get out of jail free card it used to be. Because if you're playing like a Jet or a Raze and you make contact with chamber, he TPs away, you can so easily dive and close the gap within like 2 seconds and be on him and be able to instant trade. I think it makes him like pretty much unplayable on a few maps. I think on Pearl, most of what made him good is going to really struggle. You can still kind of play long with him, but you can get dived on a lot more easily. I think on Bind, a lot of like the fast rotations that people really liked playing him with just no longer exists. On Ascent, you can still get on your defensive side peaks in like A and B main, which I think are still pretty powerful. So maybe there's a chance for him to still have some usage there. I think he's still viable. And if you think more about how your setups are working and what maps you're playing him on, you can still play him. But also Killjoy and Cypher are just giga busted in this patch. So I don't think we'll really see many pro teams at all sticking by Chamber, which is awesome.
Do you see this being the death of Chamber as well?
We have to get to everything, but at least on that, it seems like it'll still be good for early round aggression, but not rotating.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
you could still get an early round pick, just holding it like fast peak with op, but yeah, like Ball said, not good for rotates.
And also, yeah, this is another important point. If you break the teleport anchor, it's done for the whole round. It doesn't get placed on the cooldown. If you break that anchor, it is done so. He can't teleport at all for the
I
rest of
didn't
the
even
round.
realize that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a pretty massive nerf as well. That means that even if you go for that early round aggression, if they, if you leave your teleport behind or something like that, you can't reuse it later on. So he's not a threat in the late round as he was earlier on. So, but to me, the rendezvous change, I think it was Seven was saying that he actually thinks it is quite cool to look at. Like maybe it could be a buff in some certain situations or maps, which I can understand that perspective in certain small areas of the map, like niche places.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Like in places like Haven Short, right, where you would put the TP in A-Link, you can go way much more closer to the ramp in sewers, for example, to get like more aggressive peaks. There's a lot of places like that. Another one, Haven C-Long, like on defense, you can put it at the top of C-Long behind the green box and get into Cubby. You couldn't do that sort of stuff before without taking your second anchor with you and going all the way up. So you have a little bit more flexibility. Basically how it was previous nerf, where they reduced
when he was ultra fucking buffed.
Yeah, and I think it's slightly bigger than that even still. So you have a lot of room to work with within that one TP, more than you might expect, but not enough to really call it a buff, I think.
But the massive change to me, and I know that the rendezvous change is incredibly heavy, but when I think about how he's actually being utilized in the space of a Sentinel on a lot of these compositions, the change to his trademark is huge because it's now range restricted. It works like a Killjoy alarm bot or a turret that you would put down in mid to block off somebody rotating through an area or somebody coming behind you as you're running a default. It can be recalled mid-round, which is pretty cool, but the fact that it's range restricted is enormous. So, for example, the video there is of Bind, the classic spot, and you can see on the mini-map that basically you can never play showers or be long as a chamber and keep that up for the rest of your team. And once you commit into a site, it's also not going to be useful for watching the flank. And that's entirely why people put the trademark there. And I'm sure it has repercussions on a lot of the other maps too that make him much worse than some of the other Sentinels in that position now.
Yeah, they've really just forced him to be a site-localized agent. Poor at rotating, the TP's less effective, can't control other parts of the map with the trademark. I mean, it seems like now, I'm sure if you're playing Chamber, there's probably a lot of situations where it's just preferable to use the trademark to like hold a flank where if you're playing an aggro angle off the TP, like you can't get punished by someone pushing a different area, like just have the trademark watching that so you can actually TP out and run away safely without getting caught.
For example, on Haven defense, you'd see Optic run a setup where Ye would sometimes have his trademark in garage where they would just leave that open and the trademark would be watching it. But a lot of the time he would put his trademark at short while he was opping long. And that's, just to watch his back while he solo holds A. That's the kind of style where it feels like everybody's going to have to play now instead of having it across the map.
They've really just forced him into being a site anchor, it feels like. on defense. And on attack, it's also, I mean, on attack is then you're essentially, you're kind of shoehorning him into a Killjoy kind of role, but you would probably just rather have a Killjoy in that situation. Like, I'd rather have a turret watching an angle than have one trademark. So
two pieces of info at least, right? With the alarm bot and the turret.
Right, you can, so.
I couldn't even like figure out on most maps. I played him like probably Haven, Icebox, I forgot one more, maybe Bind or something like that. And there's like no way to like properly hold the flank except literally commit yourself to holding the flank. Otherwise, you're using it as literally like a drone, right? You're just like throwing it into a cubby or something like that to try to clear. And even then, it's still nerfed in comparison to this version because it has a higher activation time. So it takes longer for it to trip and once you place it. So even then, that effectiveness is kind of useless. And on defense, you could still use it to hold like a hold choke for you while you go and op another side, but it has to be close to you again. It's really, really, really bad now. And the whole reason I think why he's not going to get picked, because there's still some niche applications I think of having an op agent, but that without the trip is tough to justify.
I think on defense, Chamber can still be good. I think the situation you described in short balla with like solo holding A, that can be pretty awesome. I think there are some applications on Icebox where you can get it to work, but like if I think of that map, like you can't even like really easily TP top yellow and have a way to get out anymore. It really limits a lot of his possibilities. So I think overall, like he still has some viability, and we'll still see him niche picked on occasion, but with just how good the other Sentinels right now and how limited his utility is at actually finding value on the attack side, I think Chamber's going to be pretty rare. I think this is probably his death. He is still a real agent. That is true.
He's still very
so real.
Another element of it too is with the trip. Like if you're playing defense if you're playing attack and you're playing against a Chamber who, for example, Fracture, they put the trip drop or something like that. This localizes him so much more than it did elsewhere, where he'd be able to float, right? So you know exactly where the Chamber is playing. Actually, you know, like the two different options, because you're gonna want to play probably max range on your trip as much as possible, just to get as much value as possible. But you know where the general area that Chamber is going to be playing, or where the opera is going to be, if that's the case. So a lot of information gained.
Can you imagine when people get used to this patch, where you hear the Chamber pop the ult, and you see, oh, there's a trademark there. He must be in that area. And you know that he can't teleport across the map to challenge you again at a different angle. When people go back and watch the VODs of this year, it's going to be like watching a horror movie. It's going to be like, holy shit, he was everywhere all at once around every corner, challenging you all the time. It's an absurd difference in terms of your fear playing into a Chamber.
And it's the next thing we'll get to. But all that being said, then when he let's say he has the op out the ult, he kills the first player. Now you can actually swing as the second player and trade it, because he doesn't immediately have the gun ready to go again.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, trading is a little bit far-fetched because he's still going to TP Wyatt, but it's all.
No, I mean after that. I mean after the TP, where
But he
force him
has
off with a
to
drone.
TP after the first kill finally. Previously, he could take like 4 shots before there can even be.
Doesn't matter. He can still fucking whip out his headhunter and go blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Let's keep going as well. So yeah, we've got the Chamber ult, and they've just made it much slower to fire.
Slow.
I mean, this is
Chamber ult.
Thank the Lord. Chamber ult was already an exceptionally powerful ultimate without it being impossible to trade. I just think it should have been done a long time ago, even when they wanted Chamber to be super powerful.
Even with perfect spacing, like you couldn't trade him because it's so fucking fast. The worst that you could do was try to have perfect spacing and you just get doubled. And that happened so often this year. You just got collided every time. It's so bad. But now it's, I mean, I haven't gotten used to it. So all the games that I played with him was like, every time I shot, I was like, what the fuck? I can't shoot this again, like ever. So, but it's definitely slightly slower than an op even. So.
Oh, is it? I thought they just made it the same as the op.
It's slightly slower. Not by much, but slightly slower.
Well, that's weird.
And he still has his nerfs where like he cannot like leg shot people and get the kill. So he is just straight up has a worse gun than the op now. It is free, but if that's true, Balla, then it is just worse.
Which is fine, by the way. That's totally fine. It should have been worse in the first place. It's a fucking It's an ult that puts a slow field when you kill a person.
Yeah, I mean, the slow field still makes it very difficult to trade if they actually get a kill. But when we're talking about trading, it's not so much trading. It's more like he misses a shot and you can get set up on the angle in time in order to punish him. Ain't nobody swinging through slow fields to punish this dude, even still. Is there anything else? The slow has a reduced duration to 4 seconds. I mean, the slow is absurd anyway. But I think overall, Chamber has been whacked. And I love this approach to balance. I haven't read this paragraph from them anyway, but I like that they're going into detail here. But I think that hard nerfing agents that have been controlling the metagame for a while is fine because it gives you a breath of fresh air. It lets you see what the game would be like without them. And they can slowly bring back up their power level to the point where they're still getting some playtime. I don't think there's anything wrong with this way of approaching the game.
Yeah, fine with me. Makes it interesting starting this year.
I still have a slight problem because, bro, like, when they do bring up the power level again,
Yeah.
he's still TPing. He's still just getting away free. Like, what viable ways can you actually bring up the power level that doesn't just make him broken again?
Are you really treading on the Chamber One Trick's noses as they're already in the dust?
Fuck the Chamber One tricks. They're starting to pick Reyna in my ranked games. Like, they don't deserve anything in this game.
I have noticed an uptick in Reyna. I didn't put the 2 and 2 together, but surely that's not because of the Chamber nerfs, is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
It's awful. But anyways.
Reyna's awesome.
But that's still, I think the question stands. How do you viably bring up his power level to where he's not absolute dog water, which I don't necessarily even think is completely true in this range. But how do you bring it up without making him overpowered again?
I mean, rework the entire agent.
I mean, I think it's got to just be maybe like, I feel like you leave his like TP stuff where it is. Maybe you give him a little bit more room on the TP. You play with extending like how far away he can be from it. Or on top of that, you just change his trademark back and give it like the global power again, similar to a Cypher Trip. I feel like that's an easy way to balance it back through without like putting him back to old like Giga Broken days.
Yeah.
I think there are ways to switch it slightly with like extending the distance or like playing with the trip, but I think right now, just leave it. Chambermains can cope and seethe, and I don't want him. I don't want to even talk about buffing him again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a conversation for way down the road. Way down the road. People might still play him at this point. We don't even know. But the patch changed so much more than just Chamber. It changed the interactions between a lot of how like enemy damage really works. You might have seen when we were going through the Chamber patch there that the trademark health has been changed to 20 instead of 1. And that's also been across the board for a lot of the smaller pieces of utility, like the recon dart and the alarm bot and stuff like that. And one of the reasons is that during this big patch, they've allowed basically all damage to affect all utility. It doesn't exactly work like that, but that's the general rule going forwards. And I think that they've just simplified and made the game much more intuitive to people who would have maybe, for the first time playing the game, expected it to work like that anyway. So if we want to just kind of take a look at the at the patch notes. I mean, one of the big winners of this appears to be like Killjoy mains in general, right? You've got Chamber nerf. The lockdown takes more damage from other stuff. Oh yeah, let's start from the top then. Okay, so what is here? What is here? Breach. Big changes to Breach, guys. His ult points have increased.
Why?
By 1.
Why?
Why?
Don't know.
It's a good ultimate, and
I got a
they've been
question.
slowly just moving everything up.
It's a good ultimate? It's a good ultimate? I've seen some clips recently of just some absolute, it's just so easy to get kills in that ult. I mean, it is good, but also just, is it that good? Is it 8 orbs
Yes.
good?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
want to hang this up here forever, but
It feels
no.
like everything is 8 orbs.
Why?
Yeah,
But we can keep moving. That's fine.
I'm fine with it.
I don't
Less
mind
the
it.
game.
I don't care. I don't play Breach. But also, why?
The Cypher trap wire health has increased. Yeah, I'll get on to why they've done that in a bit. The Fade has got a massive stealth nerf in this patch. I mean, it feels like the whole patch was about nerfing Chamber, but Fade, when you add up the nerfs that she had previously with the Prowler, the health has now been decreased. And as you'll see later on, like mollies and stuff like that does damage to the Prowler as well. So this health is poof, it evaporates so
60
much
is-
quicker.
That's nothing.
I've been playing a lot of ranked on this patch. I think I queued like 10 or 11 games yesterday because I don't have a life in the off season. And playing against Fades, it felt so much easier to get rid of the cat. It takes like 2 to 3 shots now to get rid of a Fade cat. And even when it's like in Champion mode and it's like latched onto you, it's way easier to kill her stuff and be able to adjust up to like kill the person swinging you. I think this is a pretty significant change to her combined with the already decreased distance on the cats. So I don't think it's going to be undertuning her. I think it's going to put her in a pretty good spot, and I think it's a pretty reasonable change to the cats.
Fade plays everywhere.
It's similar to the
molding.
Sova treatment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking...
I think cats now are going to be a lot more. You're going to see a lot less situations where you're actually getting a chomp, and a lot more situations where it is just strictly info. And they're still very good for getting information. That's not changing with this. It just makes it a lot harder to actually get the chomp and get the blind onto someone.
Okay, Harbor.
Maybe when they're supercharged,
sorry.
it's like not as easy to get blinded by it as well. When they're fucking on the trail, that shit was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
annoying.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
So Harbor, I mean, kind of outside of all of this shit that's going on, they're still just trying to buff Harbor so that people play him. Please, we'll make him insane. So the high tide is like his major wall thing, and the duration's increased there. The cascade duration has also increased. They're just making his smokes and the slow that is with the smokes last for longer. The slow mechanic doesn't last longer, but the fact that the wall is in front of you is kind of the important part there. But I mean, this kind of feels like it's not even related to the rest of the patch. It's just been thrown in there to please, I beg you, play more Harbor. So I think we can move on fairly easily, can't we? We'll talk about Harbor when he gets playtime, I guess. So
has anyone? I just want to take a quick poll
Yeah.
before we move on. I'm sorry. How many harbors have you guys seen in playing your own games? Because I
0.
think I queue like 5 ranked games like every single night for like the last like 2 weeks since I got home. And I think I've only seen a harbor like once, maybe twice. No one plays this guy. It's crazy.
I've played against Harbors, maybe against and as or with probably like 6 times. 100% win rate. 100% win rate. 100% win rate.
what, the Harbor has 100% win
well-
rate? Well, okay.
Wait, he has 100% or you do? Because if the Harbor's on the other
No, the
team,
Harbor.
then you-
The Harbor.
okay.
Against me, as my teammate. 100% win rate. Just saying.
The anecdotaliness of this evidence is mighty suspect. I played with a Harbor.
Yeah, but it's high elo, so come on now.
Okay. So I played with a Harbor, and we did win. But he also
100%
went
win rate.
he went 7-22.
Doesn't
and he
matter. Control it.
It was a gigantic liability. but listen, we won, so 100% win rate. That's fine.
I've literally never seen one. I've never played against one in any game mode,
Really?
even DM. I don't know about that.
Wait, I don't know if I've ever seen one in DM. I don't believe in him. He's,
No, I
he's
might
like the
have-
Sasquatch.
I might have played against one in DM, but that's it.
Okay.
I haven't seen one in unranked, unrated,
Wyatt.
spike rush, snowball, escalation, ranked, anywhere.
Fast game.
Why you got
Anywhere.
to be the change you want to see in the world, okay? You got to be the change.
I'm not playing Arbor. I'm not playing Arbor.
He's
I'll wait
viable.
for the
He's
next
viable.
after like the 5 more buffs. I'll play.
Yeah. Once they make him insta-kill if you hit him someone with a wall, then we'll play him. All right, what's the next one then?
Drowns.
KO.
Wait a
okay,
minute.
so
Riot Games made a typo. Null command isn't C. Null command is X. Go back. Riot Games made a typo.
oh
could
no. Oh no, we must
It's
we
not a
must
C.
tell
It's his
them.
ult.
We must
Everyone,
tell them
go
quickly.
get enraged on Twitter.
Go post on their
Swiftly.
podcast comments. Just comment. You guys made a typo.
Yeah, because we here at Plat Chat never make mistakes. We've never once made a
Not
mistake about anything, and that gives us the high ground. Yeah, they increased the KO's ult to 8. I think it's an 8 value ult. They also the health of 0 point yada yada. We'll get to that in a bit. Killjoy, right? Killjoy lockdown. The health has increased to 200. This has pretty massive ramifications.
Yeah.
Can't be broken by shock darts. Can't be broken by breach aftershock. I guess
KO
previously it could have done because they had bonus damage, but as you'll see later on, the bonus damage from aftershock, for example, has been taken away. So now it just does 180 to the lockdown, which isn't enough to break it. So it's pretty huge, actually. It changes the
Question.
barrier pretty significantly.
How much does a Raisinade do? Lockdown?
Enough.
Still enough?
Yeah, still enough.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
still enough.
Just checking.
You
Yeah,
have to
just
like
making
get
sure.
like most of the nade on it for it to do it. Like the little tendrils have to land near it. It can't like spread out and go away from the ult.
Raised nade does so much damage. I was looking at it. It's like
It's ridiculous.
fucking like 80 per pellet thing blowing up. It's crazy, but it's obviously a justified
Not
distance.
enough. I needed to AoE attack everybody on the map. I want to call in a tactical nuke. Bring back Call of Duty buffs. So I think we can move on from this as well. We'll just talk about this holistically at the end once we get to it. Omen buff, pretty huge actually. Paranoia cost increase from 300 to 250. You can now buy on the pistol round the smoke and armor as well, right? So that's 400 and then plus the 400 from Paranoia and the smoke, which is huge because I was out here in my Omen games just buying full utility, buying 2 shadow steps or whatever it's called and looking like a moron.
Yeah, that's really big, actually.
Blaze, the cost has been decreased.
Yay.
Still a shit ability though. Please go back to the drawing board with this one. I mean, is it not? Any defenders for Blaze out there?
No.
Ooh, I love my
Blaze.
agent that is only good at close ranges around corners to not have any gap closing ability other than one fucking wall.
If they just, he's so slow at just pulling it out and getting the wall up.
Yeah.
They need the speed.
Speed, violence, momentum, perhaps 2 walls like Neon. Raise. Boombot health has been decreased to draw it in line with the Prowler as well. I think probably everything that we just talked about with Prowler makes sense here as well.
That's overtuned.
And
Too hard of a
Sage.
nerf.
Sage is actually one of the agents that you have to keep in mind in this patch because a lot of what we'll get to is that, mollies and stuff like that all now damage enemy utility. And the Sage Wall is something that is massively important when it comes to that too. And the Sage Wall is still damaged by ally stuff. And that is necessary because you don't want to get trolled by your own Sage and just walled into places. But it also means that the nerf here, for example, the wall taking an extra 10% of the time in order to fortify, might make a bit of a difference. And then they've changed how she heals as well. Did you think
really
Sage
wanna
was
see
overpowered
Riot-
currently?
No.
1 second. I want to see Riot add like a Pokemon style system to make the game make more sense. This patch feels like it's trying to make the game more approachable. Like mollies do damage to everything. That makes a lot more sense instead of having to know the intricacies. But Phoenix Molly should insta-kill Sage Wall. I think we should just have common sense counters. Fire versus ice, that should destroy it. Fire
not
versus
ice.
electricity can expand beyond heat.
Jade,
Killjoy's
actually.
utility shouldn't lose to the Molly. The slow orb, that ices out electronics. It should shut it down. I think it should make
It's
more
not
sense.
that we're not talking. This isn't May from Overwatch.
Hold on, she do be cooking.
Also,
Let her cook.
I've cooked.
No, there's no cooking going on. But Van Silly tier cooking going on with that idea. Okay? No cooking. I like the I like to interject. You guys are talking about the patch notes. 1 second, guys.
I must talk about lore.
Wait.
Pikachu.
1 second.
Sorry, that was really important. What was your question, Josh? It was very
We're
informative and
talking about
necessary to
we're
discuss.
talking about the Sage, maybe.
Do you think Sage needed nerfing? I mean, she wasn't really getting much playtime as far as I could tell, but she's just been hit with a nerf hammer every time that she's been come up, and I felt like she was in a decent spot. But this is clearly the whole patch is a bit of a nerf because now, for example, if you're playing with a Sage and a Brim defending bind, you wall off B long, and then your Brim accidentally in ranked fires a molly towards B long as well. The Brim molly from your own team is going to affect the Sage wall, and so. I mean, there's already
It's not
interactions
gonna
that are worse
land
than
on the
this.
wall, Josh. No, the Brim thing bounces like 15 times. Never gonna happen.
It's going to land underneath your wall and it spreads under
But even
walls and
if
it's
the
going to
edge of
heat
the
it up
wall
and the
hits,
jade's going to melt.
yeah.
Mhm.
Is it jade? I thought it was ice.
Not ice.
Papega clap. I
Common-
mean, it's
common-
jeez.
Common mistake. It's not
Oh
ice.
no.
Isn't it
No,
called
it's
ice
jade.
orb? No, it's
No,
barrier
it's not
orb.
called ice orb. It's called the barrier
know.
orb.
Okay. That's a stupid name. It's a wall, not an orb.
All right. Anyway, she does more
So,
healing to allies than herself as well. Only 30
She was-
HP healing.
She was OP in low ranks, Josh. I think this is literally what
Okay.
it's targeted at. She was fucking like 60% win rate or something. I'm making that stat up, but half the stats you hear on the show are made up anyways. So
True.
Yeah, it was. She was OP in lower ranks. This is what it's targeting.
All right. Okay. Let's move on. Sova. Yeah. Whatever. Sky. Yeah. Okay. So Sky actually pretty significant change there. The dog now costs more, which I don't think that changes any like major calculations when it comes to pistol round or something like that. Not sure. I mean, most Skies were running full util on pistol anyway, weren't they? I don't know.
Yeah.
Watch.
Or like dog and armor or
This
something.
change does mean you can get heal 2 flash armor on your pistol, which is pretty cool. Similar, I think a lot of this patch is just like adjusting pistol round buys to make them more reasonable for the util agents. It's kind of just the same idea with what they did to Omen.
Yeah. Okay.
So they
the heal
increased
costs less.
the dog, but okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Increase the dog, reduce the heal. Yeah. Fine.
So you can still buy full utility if you want on a pistol, or you can forego your Trailblazer and get everything else plus armor.
Yeah. I mean, if you forego your Trailblazer on pistol, though, you're trolling. So let's be very clear out there. The finances do not change that. Viper, massive changes to the Viper's Pit. And this confused the shit out of me until I talked it through my stream. Does someone want to go through it so I don't look like a moron again?
Sure. So with this new change to Viper, essentially it affects how long you can be outside of your pit. So right now, a lot of Viper players will like pop down their pit, play in it for 20 seconds, and then like run away, and like 15 or 15 seconds later, their pit would fall. You're playing offsite, you win the round. But now, when you leave your pit, that bar that decreases, the like durability bar of your Viper's pit, goes all the way down. So your ult will drop if you stay out of the pit for 8 seconds. But you can no longer do the cheese where you go out of your ult for like 14 seconds, go straight back in, and then it regenerates within like I think it was 5 seconds before. Now it takes 25 whole seconds for that bar to regenerate. So you can't do the funny game where you're going like inside, outside the pit constantly. You have to either commit to being out and let your pit fall, or go back in. Because if you leave again, you're never going to have 25 seconds in a Viper's ult to let that bar fully recover to go back out again. So essentially it makes it harder for her to juggle her position in and outside of the pit while keeping it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this was the most broken ult
That was
in
a
the
good
game.
explanation.
So yeah,
Even my feeble mind understood.
it means that you should be able to flush you know that the Viper's in the pit probably, and you'll be able to flush her out a bit more easily, which I think good change
and
overall.
increase the ult points.
Like,
Yeah.
Cool.
Like
sure.
ulting or droning her out for even a couple seconds could keep her out the ult and just drop it. So there's actually real counterplay now.
Yeah.
Faking footsteps running away, like on Icebox, for example, that could definitely get her out for the pit for enough time that it'll drop to. So good change.
That's
Nice.
Wyatt can no longer mold when people are egoing the Viper's Pit in every round.
Yep.
There's just genuine counterplay now,
Yep.
rather than just put a drone in there and hope to God you catch the Viper. Okay, so moving on from Viper, Yoru's gate crash has been changed.
A little cost decrease.
Yeah. Looks like several agents are reviewing some important mission updates in the range. Didn't read that when I looked at patch change. Don't know what it means.
Lore in the range.
Lore!
Maybe.
Don't care.
Find lore.
There's a bunch of lore going on in the range. Cypher is sitting there right
They
now.
mentioned
and there's like
the
a Killjoy
range.
alarm bot.
We're getting some fucking practice updates. Let's go.
Look at this. Look how happy the Killjoy alarm bot is.
What? This is the
Yay!
change?
Yeah, look how cute that is.
I thought we were gonna get like actual scenarios, man. Come on.
Oh, look at that.
I'm
It's
just
lore.
done, man. I'm done, bro. When
That's
can we
why
get a
alarm bot
replay
love
mode?
Killjoy alarm
Like a
bot.
different.
You know the little you know the BB-8s that came out that were like remote control
Star
and they
Wars?
zipped around.
Oh, the Star Wars guys. Yeah.
Yeah. But people made actual, I don't know what you would really call them. They're not drones, I suppose, but it rolled around on a
Droids?
ball and it was, yeah,
Droids?
droids. Yeah, there you go. If someone made one of those for the alarm bot and it did that little dance, that might be a
Oh,
cop.
we'd be fucking. Yep.
That might be a little cop. Not gonna lie, that might be a little cop. Okay, let's where the hell were we? We just finished with
The
Yoru.
assist changes.
Can we finally get to the bloody? Here we go. Oh,
Nope.
Nope,
Mike,
not yet.
it's still this. Okay, look at what this is. Changing how assists work in the game. Move on.
No,
Move
this is
on.
good though.
W.
It's
Did they
good.
finally fix the
Support
breach
players
thing with
or
that?
ACS, and as we
Nope.
learned at the beginning of the episode, ACS is the most important stat. So W change.
W
Did they
change.
fix the breach thing? No.
I don't think I'm ever going to look at how assists work in this game. I just they're so
Why?
inconsistent.
There's
no
four
value.
things right here. All you look at it.
Nope.
Okay, wait, we get the exciting thing next.
Not
We get
looking.
the exciting thing. Move on, move on, move on,
Yeah.
move on.
So the damage interaction changes. These are the big ones. We've been kind of talking about it the whole time we've been discussing these agents anyway. But basically, you don't have to scroll through each one of these agents. But it's like, oh, the incendiary now damages all of these things. Oh, the nanoswarm now damages all of these things. Hot hands now damages all of these things. Essentially, we can sum it up like stuff that does damage now damages everything.
And it doesn't damage team things.
Yes, it doesn't damage team things apart from, I believe, the Sage Wall, which
Yes,
and
correct.
trips. Cypher
trips? No. Cypher
That was a
trips they already
glitch. That
changed
was
in a
a
previous
glitch.
patch.
So nothing.
For every audio listener out there, Bala just uncontrollably, speechlessly pogged.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's why I was infuriated going through this on my stream, because they've done it in such a backwards way where they haven't just said there are exceptions to the general rule. They've listed out all of the new abilities that it damages. So you have to remember in your head which ones it already does or doesn't damage, which is annoying as fuck. But I think the general rule is that everything basically gets damaged apart from Sage Wall.
I'm just gonna hope everything gets broken.
Yeah. The KO change there, though, is quite important, too, because if they're not going to fix the KO knife bug, at least you can listen to the voiceover now.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Which, who knows? Will it still have the bug or not?
Well, his voiceover's broken as well.
Yep.
He
Too
just
suppressed.
says the wrong.
Ah, fuck, it was 4. I'm in the site. Ah, shit. That's
I
the
forgot.
new one.
Fuck.
Yeah. What else? So the damage multiplier update is also really important. So a lot of things now do damage to stuff, and previously, some abilities did bonus damage to lockdown, tripwires, whatever. I mean, it only really mattered, as far as I could tell, to lockdowns. But
I didn't know this existed. I won't lie. I did not know shit did bonus
I think
damage.
the craziest part of this, though, is when you scroll to Raze, Blast Pack used to deal 1,200% damage to
Yeah.
enemy abilities, which means she could 2-tap Sage Walls with her fucking Blast Packs. She could 1-tap KJ ults with it. They
Yeah.
fixed all that shit. All good.
Yeah.
It's no
But
longer busted.
we
and
did know
broken.
that. That's why I was losing my mind when Asuna did his blast pack lineup to kill the lockdown. Is because it did absurd amounts of damage. But yeah, it still does bonus damage. It's one of the few abilities in the game that now still grants bonus damage. So Raze is the best person to have if you want to get rid of a lockdown or a Sage Wall, I guess. But for everything else, it's doing significantly less than you would expect. The important things to look at are like KO nade works differently to all of the other mollies in the game. I don't know why. You can do 132 damage to a player with a Viper molly, but you can only do 33 damage to a piece of utility with a Viper molly because of how vulnerable and
Well, that makes sense.
the
'Cause it's
debuff
like
works.
it's like a thin
acidic
acid.
goop.
Oh, you're
It's
arguing
acid.
the lore for balance now.
No, it's not lore, it's
not
visual.
lore, it's visually, yeah.
It's
Dude,
unintuitive.
it's
KO's
an
Molly
acidic
looks
liquid.
lethal, dude. Viper looks like you could put on a nice pair of boots and just walk right through it.
The
Your
KO
nice
one
pair
is-
of boots would be coming out looking like they're in tatters. The acid
Yeah, they'll
would
be
chew
fucked up,
through
but
them.
you won't take any
KO
damage.
Molly is already so good. Like, the ability is so cringe. It's not a fucking Molly. It's like an orb. It's a sphere. It's a circle that you throw, and everything in the radius gets absolutely fucking boomed by it. And now it's even better because it's the only Molly that actually does good utility damage. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, the utility damage is useless if it can't break a lockdown, right?
Oh, it can still
it
break
not?
lockdown though.
I'm pretty sure it is one of the few that still can.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the KO
Hold on.
nade
that's
is one of the
2.5%
few that can.
damage.
Yeah.
Fragment Valorant. I swear
Because
I
you
did
can
this.
you can kill a player with fragment and you do 2.5 times damage to utility, and a killjoy lockdown only has 50 more health than a player, so you can 100% kill a lockdown, and you can still cheese a lockdown through a wall. I think that should not have
Sorry.
been allowed.
No,
when
it,
nothing
it
else can
does
break
not.
it.
Oh, it's 200.
It does,
Oh
250.
fuck! I thought they
250.
buffed the lockdown to 250. Okay,
No,
never mind.
200.
All right,
Wait,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
Wait.
but-
Oh my
but
god.
I just-
Wait. Is
I
the
just
number
wanna-
on the left or the right the new one? Is the number
right,
on the
the
left or
right,
the,
the right.
Why is it greater than signs? 250 is greater than those are supposed to be. Oh, this is written so confusingly. I thought it was still
Really,
250.
it's not.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Oh.
three
They're
greater than
arrows.
signs do not
Those
make
are
you think
greater
that it
than.
means greater than.
That means
it's clearly an arrow.
really greater.
It's really greater, actually.
That's so stupid. It should be, if they want it to be an arrow, it should be a dash and then a greater than sign, not 3 greater than
Well, that
signs.
would be minus greater. So
Yeah, you'd have to get bod mass in there and stuff, and you'd have to figure it out. So
I'm
they
losing
tried to
my
make it
fucking
easy.
mind. No, it cannot kill Killjoy Lockdown. I've just been capping for the last
yes,
few
yes, it can.
No, it can.
What?
What I want to point
How
out
much
here at this
damage
point,
does it deal in total?
what I want to bring up while our analysts are molding, is that this patch was supposed to make things more intuitive, and it's actually just caused more confusion, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm going into game right now and I'm
Why
fine.
did they just make all the mollies work the same? Why do they make some up, some down? Why don't they just deal flat? The same damage they do to players, they do the same damage to utility. Why? I don't want to get into it. Fucking let's move on, for God's sake. God,
Agreed.
yeah,
But also-
so
Take the reins, Josh.
you know,
please.
if the stuff like Fade, for example, though, you put down a molly in the choke point, the Prowler's going to go on top of it, the Prowler will die. There are big consequences to this patch in terms of actual play that aren't just us nerding out about the details of like, oh, the damage numbers, which I will do still, though. But yeah, was there anything else in this patch?
Slight
What?
Spectre
Sorry.
nerf at long range.
Yeah.
Prowler?
I was going to ask, you said you were going to, because I don't get this. You said you were going to explain why they changed like trips and darts and stuff to
Yes.
20 HP.
Okay, so sorry. So the reason that
Alright.
they've changed the health values of stuff like that is so that they don't. Well,
Insta-die to
I think
mollies?
it's so that they don't insta die, so that they still have, you know. So if you fire them into something, they don't evaporate before they hit the ground. I think if they had literally 1 health, they might not be able to do some certain interactions. Now, I can't imagine anyone killing a fucking Rainalia or a Recon Dart with a Brimstone Molly, but that interaction exists in the game. So, you know, you can get rid of certain utility with
I
other
was going to
utility
ask a
and it all has 20
question, but
health.
it's just better I don't. And we
My brain
yeah,
hurts.
push
Can we
them.
talk about something else?
If you have any questions, put them
forward.
in the comments of this video, and I
and
won't
we won't
answer
reply
them.
to them.
Spectre changes. Let's talk
No,
Spectre
it's
changes. 'cause
long range nerfs. That's it.
Yeah.
Tiny inch.
That's it.
blah, blah, blah.
Why would anyone use the Spectre when the Stinger is in the game now?
True. But
I
also
think the
wrong.
Spectre's cooler.
Because the Spectre's actually pretty good on like
Spectre's
second
good.
rounds. And I think
No.
you're capping,
Stinger's,
Josh.
Stinger's
Dude.
good too, but it's not. Come on,
You
Spectre.
cannot consistently get a multi-kill on an anti-eco with a Stinger. You can with a Spectre.
Yeah.
If you're getting
True.
ran down on a round 2
True,
after
Josh.
after buying SMGs, you only get 1 with a Stinger, you get 2 to 3 with a Spectre.
It's
Spectre better.
true.
That is a good point. But you're not going to stop me from buying Stinger.
Okay, that's
Fair.
fine.
Yeah. Was there anything else in here? I think it was just the
Swift play.
I
Oh
hope not.
yeah, the new game mode that was released as well.
Oh, yeah.
Swift play is in the game. It's live. You can jump in. It's similar to if anyone's played the CS mode. That's like the shorter version. I can't remember what
Short
they call
match,
it in
yeah.
CS. What? Sorry.
They call it short match. Very creative naming scheme.
Oh yeah, yeah, really good. Well done, Valve. So this is just basically a copied version of that. Something we were really asking for months ago to be added to the game. They've added it in. It's very similar to just unrated, except you get slightly more money and slightly fewer. Well, a lot fewer rounds. Has anyone played it? I played 1 game of it last night just to check it out. Has anyone else?
I played like 3 games. Very cool mode. Very cool mode. It basically the money works out so that you get a pistol round, you get a force, like an anti-eco versus a force, and then you get 2 gun rounds, which is fucking cool.
Cool. Haven't
Yeah.
tried it yet. Looks cool.
I will say, I went and played this game mode last night, and
Yeah.
it was in the middle of streaming Minecraft. So it was one of the, like, you know, I was doing a challenge where it was like, oh, I messed up in Minecraft, so I've got to go and play a quick play game of Valorant. And the idea was I could ask people in Valorant about Minecraft. And one of the people
That's
responded
amazing.
that I should spit in their mouth. So I think
Yep.
this tweet might be the realest shit you've ever seen.
Interestingly enough, that's the least horny Valorant player that you interacted with in that game.
Yeah. So it really is a dangerous place. Don't go in there unless you're very much prepared.
It's actually crazy though, because I had similar experiences with people asking me to spit in their mouths, but like This doesn't happen in ranked. It doesn't happen. All I mean is angry people in ranked. In this mode, like I'm fucking getting introduced to a whole nother community.
Oh my
of
god,
spike
I've
rushers-
had some
spike
creatures
rushers.
in ranked. I've been in the terrible dungeon. I had a player in my match the other day who wasn't coming in game, but heard my voice and then opened my stream and was typing in my Twitch chat instead of calming in game. And the one time that he was actually calming at the end of the game was a clutch 2v1 that he and one of my teammates were in, and I was fucking screaming because I was tilted at the way they were playing it. And he calms to his teammate, and I hear my own voice from my stream coming back through his microphone. It was the weirdest fucking experience of all time.
That's just
That's
opting
the
into
side
getting
note.
boomed. I mean, that is,
God.
open your teammate's stream to listen to them not communicate their frustrations to you, but you just get it anyway.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Not
Move on.
to turn this into the ranked therapy session, but fuck me, Josh and I played some awful games the other day with Van Silly after he ate his chicken noodle soup hot dog.
We were both really drunk.
And we almost lost a 5v4 from the beginning on Icebox. We won 15-13. We brought it back because we were down 7-11. We brought it back to 12-11, and on the last round of regular time, our Reyna, who didn't say a fucking word the whole game, pipes up to say, guys, let's go mid to A. Let's go mid to A. After
Oh
we
my
were just
God.
straight 5-manning sites and winning every round, go mid to A on Icebox. The worst attacker pathing possible. We immediately lose the round.
By the way,
Everyone dies
Ranked players
straight
love
away.
changing things that are working for no reason. It makes me so mad.
They're trying to stay 2 steps ahead. I will say,
This is
though,
a great segment.
the Reyna said that, and Van Silly co-signed it. Van Silly was like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then the whole team goes there. And now...
My favorite thing in ranked is watching the worst possible play ever. And because I'm the fucking therapist of my ranked teams, when I solo queue, just being like, yeah, perfectly played, guys. Really nice job. Let's run that back. When
Yeah,
we
no,
throw
that's
a
the best.
4v1.
That's a Shio classic right there.
You're talking to your dude, what the fuck are our teammates doing? This guy doesn't know how to... And then they win the round. Oh, good job, guys. Well played.
Played optimally, we won.
Bren has been going through his own ranked therapy sessions as well. He's been slaughtering his way through the Korean queues because he's still in Korea right now. He's playing on a proper
But he
setup.
can only play Spike Rush, right? Because he doesn't have a Korean ranked account yet.
No, he has
Finessed one.
acquired a Korean ranked account.
Okay.
We won't go into details. And he's currently he's managed to get his way up to Ascendant Immortal rank just by the short time that he's been there. And he said all of the Korean players are buying Bucky second round, and they refuse to go in through the choke points. And so he's just been jet entering.
Can you
and
show the
farming.
screenshots he posted below the story?
Wait, is that the map of this moment?
Next
no,
one? Yeah,
that's-
can you
that's a
click on that
different
one,
one.
Kurt? Look, I mean, look at the spike position compared to where I don't know.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So I'm sure Bren could do with some ranked therapy too. I thought though that the Swift Play game mode was a bit too short. I don't know whether you experienced that as well, but I felt like it was over too quickly. I'd like to see it extended maybe first to 7 so that it's almost exactly half of what a main game is rather than 5. It just was
have a
over
theory.
in a flash.
I have a theory, and the reason why it's so fast is because when they play tested it, they play tested with real people who would actually run some sort of a semblance of a regular comp, so they'd have smokers. In this Swift Play, nobody picks smokers. They all pick 5 duelists instantly. It doesn't matter. They don't care. So they just run it down, and it's much faster than they expected. Because my shit was lasting 10 minutes,
Yeah.
basically.
Which is it's good for some people.
Which
I
is
mean, that's
fine.
the whole point of the game, right? So it's supposed to be fast, but yeah, it was over a little too quickly for me.
There was no semblance of holy shit, we gotta win this. It was. Just
I mean,
like,
to
oh,
be
it's
fair,
over.
unrateds
Like,
are already over, off the start. I'm a determinist, particularly in unrated. I have to force myself to believe I have a say in my ranked games, even though I also don't. But in unrated, you either win or lose from agent select, and you should just forfeit at round 5 if you're gonna lose. There's no point. So it's just as fast anyway.
Okay, wonderful. That's a real pessimistic outlook. Let's talk about the pro play though here for a moment in Swift play. No, not in Swift play. With the patch changes. Patch 5.12. Who are the winners and losers of the chamber patch?
Oh my god! Wait, the winners of the Swift play patch are orgs, like org business development people, like fucking. I know that's not Connor's job, but like Connor, that have to think of ways to do sponsor activations in Valorant that are fun and aren't just a tournament. Like the series of Spike Rush tournaments that orgs did as like a McDonald's activations. They can now do Swift play instead, so they can do like $1,000 Samsung McDonald's Swift play activation and borp a business their way to victory. Just shout out to all the business dev people in esports right now. Big win for you guys today.
Yeah, big win. Big fat dub in the column. Well done. Now, should we talk about pro Valorant for a bit? Or you just want to borp at the business?
I was talking about pro Valorant, but okay.
Okay. Yeah, so the chamber patch, but it's like a chamber nerf. Is it a killjoy buff? There's cypher buffs in there as well. There's fade nerfs. There's all sorts of different things. So summon it all up. Let's hit some pro teams. And Kurt's made us this beautiful little segment, the W or the L. So for Na'Vi, this team with CNED in there and stuff as well, is this a fat dub or is it an L in the column for Na'Vi in terms of their patch?
I mean, it's just a big W. CNED doesn't have to play Chambers. Who can fucking play primary Sentinel. I think they literally, all of the stuff that they just did in G-Loot was primed for this. Like, they were like, okay, maybe we'll put a little bit of CNED. It'll be fine. He could play Chamber a little bit, but most of the time we're going to put Sugetsu on Killjoy or whatever. And it looked great. So, W.
Yeah.
W.
I feel like I can't think of another team at the top level like this where there was such a big difference between their star player on Jet and their star player on Chamber. I feel like CNED epitomizes that kind of thing, really. Oh, this Chamber was awful. It just wasn't amazing. I think this is a fat dub as well. I mean, this is the Na'Vi patch. If I could think of any team, it feels like this team would benefit, and they're already at the top of the game.
Yeah, I have absolutely no counterpoint. CNED getting to play Jet is an absolute W. Probably means a little bit less of like the Zipan Rays and things like that, but that's fine. CNED is an amazing player. Give him the Jet, give him the freedom, give Sugetsu the real Sentinels. Free this man from Sage duty. It's going to be beautiful.
Xiao is going to be a bit worse on the fade, but I mean, Xiao just plays everything as well, man. I mean, yeah. Where can you can't go wrong with this, can you?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just, I would imagine
Xiao's also
going to be
playing
more
smokes.
Sova. Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, W. I mean, I'm not going to.
Yep, just dub. Just a fat dub. They are winners of patch 5.12. That's sick. Patch. I like this. I like having dub underneath my name. It's rare. It's fucking rare. Let's move on to the next team. So Cloud9 are the team that we're going to talk about next. We've picked out like a little selection of pro teams. We're not going to go through them all, obviously. But the rest of the teams that we're going to go through are going to be playing in Red Bull Homegrounds, which we'll discuss coming up later on as well. So Cloud9 currently in Manchester, I think, for Red Bull Homeground, having dinner with Boaster and Yinsu and stuff like that. That's irrelevant. Just a bit of fluff there for you. Are they the winners or losers of this patch? They're not going to be playing on the patch at Red Bull Homeground, but looking towards the future, are they winners or losers? Because, you know, yay, insanely good Chamber. Does that make them losers of this patch?
That alone.
I think yay. Go ahead,
Mimi.
Wyatt.
No, Mimi.
No, please.
You take the
please,
floor.
Please, go ahead. No.
No. Mimi.
I'll open the door for you.
Mimi.
No, please, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say that alone definitely certainly doesn't put them in the loser category, because Ye's Jet was, I mean, I think he played it still a little bit on Ascent, right? But other than that, he was just on Chamber.
Yeah.
But I mean, his Jet is one of the best, if not the best. So that's just not a problem. I think it's more interesting to think about where other players on the team then end up as far as the roles. Because you have Leaf can pretty much play anything, and his smokes used to be super good. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's on the Omen, and then you have Vanity playing some of the Sentinel possibly.
Zelsis
I remember
has played
Zelsis played Killjoy.
Yeah,
he was playing Killjoy a while ago, so you could have Zelsis on that. So I think there's a few different ways they could go about it, but I mean, yay back on Jet is obviously that's perfectly fine.
What do they do, though, if they want to be running, like, Raise comps. Listen, I'm not sure that raise comps are really going to be the meta. I think it's very difficult to predict metas coming out of big patches like this. But with the Fade nerfs, maybe you don't have the same level of synergy. Maybe people are moving away from raise. But if that was the case, if people were playing raise comps, I mean, does Leaf end up picking that up? And if so, where's Ye's position on the team if he's not playing that main duelist and there isn't a chamber to go alongside? Like in a world where you play raise with a Killjoy, for example, what's Ye's position on the team? Like, how do you see that? Does Ye just pick up the raise?
We go back to the return to Andbox. Have him up on Breach.
No. You mean the only time in Ye's career he hasn't looked like one of the best players in the world? Take him back to that time.
Exactly. No, but I think, you know, I may be a kid these days. I may have been brought up in an era of participation trophies, but not everyone can be a winner. And I'm going to say it. I don't think Cloud9 is a winner here. I think that this team has a lot of flexibility. I think the points you make, Wyatt, about Leaf being able to play a lot of different agents is a really high level, and being good at that is awesome. But I'm a loser.
I mean, if you're a social media member for Cloud9, I mean, just loser, hater, thinks Cloud9 are gonna win, as they're gonna lose.
No, I still think this team is going to be really, really good. But I do think they are a loser in this patch, despite the fact that I think they'll adapt to it fine and still be really, really good. I think this means we get less Leaf Rays, which I think is a shame, because I think that can still be really good. I think Ye is a world-class Jet, but I feel like it does throw a lot of questions about their composition. I have faith that they'll be able to adapt to it. But when I compare them to a team like Na'Vi, where it's just like, okay, this makes sense, everything's going to be perfect, I don't see that quite as much with Cloud9. I think it's going to be a little bit harder for them to find the right balance of compositions. I'm still really excited to see Ye Jet, but not everyone can be a winner. And today, they're taking the L.
Wow.
So for me, this team was probably one of the the most primed to take on the 2022 season if Chamber was in the meta. Like they were perfect. EA was there. They had people to play Raze. They had flex players that were fucking insane. They cut their primary Sentinel player before this, for whatever reasons, but they don't have Mitch anymore to come in and be like, let me play Sentinel for you guys. I can do it. So yeah, it's an L, but it is a W for Ye because he's not locked in chamber jail now. So.
Chamber jail.
Man, really?
You can't call it chamber jail when he was just
chamber.
ruling
It was
the
chamber.
world.
It's like a fucking
player.
Scandinavian prison. It's like a prison in Norway where like you commit a minor crime and you get locked up in prison and it's a fucking beautiful experience. I don't know if prisons are good in Norway, but I feel like
I'm
they
just
would
saying it messed with his mental, man. He actually convinced Optic to try playing Yoru one time where he was the Yoru. So because he wanted to stop playing chamber on every map. So, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about this being an L. Here, okay. So what I'm thinking about though too is like how hard can they force Ye on Jet on the maps that are going to be in the pool? We don't know what the new map is going to be like, but Bind being out of the pool is good in if you want to force Jet. It's good in a Jet world, right? Because you can play Jet on
30 games of Reach. I'm just saying, 30 games of Reach.
Yeah, God no. I mean the split can be okay, but is a little bit more awkward. But for the most part, I feel like you should be able to play Jet on most of the maps. And in Fracture, it's a little awkward. Maybe not.
I mean, Split. Yeah, did you say? Sorry,
I was saying Split and Fracture
are
a little awkward for Jet, but the other maps. And then it depends on what the new map is like. So
I want to see.
I don't know how hard you can. I was trying to think in my head how hard you can force Jet on the pool.
Yeah. Fairly hard, but I don't think it's going to work everywhere.
Yeah. So I mean,
you're just thinking it's not a nerf if Ye goes back to Jet because he can control the game arguably even higher than he could on Chamber,
or just equal to if he can play as much Jet as he was playing Chamber.
Yeah.
And then the other roles around him make sense.
Yeah.
This is tough though. I think they'll have a lot to figure out, and it's not that they don't necessarily have the personnel to do it though, because Leaf is so flexible and Zelsis is really flexible as well. So it's not that they can't figure it out. I think it's just less of an obvious oh,
Yeah.
we just insert the puzzle piece here. It's like solving the tens puzzle when you have 500 pitch black puzzle pieces that are all cut quite similarly. How the fuck do we put this together? It's there. All the pieces are there, but I think it'll probably be harder to figure out, at least seemingly, on the outside. But I feel like they have so many flexible players that they can do it.
But by default, that just makes it an L because they have to figure it out, right?
Yeah, I mean, if
Certainly compared to Navi, where it's just, oh, so Getsu gets to play Sentinel and CNA gets to play Jet. And
the game really is.
Okay.
Are they going up or are they going down compared to if they were playing on the previous patch? And it's pretty hard to argue that they're going up compared to the previous patch.
Yeah, they're definitely not going up. I'm kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, you have to pick
same or L, but I guess then that just
There
means,
isn't a same.
I guess I'll go, yeah.
You're gonna go L.
I don't want to because I feel like I think they'll figure it out and they'll be fine because they have so many flexible players that it'll be fine.
The only argument you could go for a W is Ye is going to be unlocked and fucking crazier than he was on Chamber.
And that's exactly what I'm gonna give you. But I'm also gonna give the Cloud9 fans out there some outrageous cope. Ye's Jet is insane, but he's not gonna play Jet. Leaf's gonna play Raze, and Ye's gonna play Reyna. And it's going to be Raze Reyna on every map. We're going back, baby! We're going
Holy
back!
Shit.
I mean,
We're going back to fucking 0.95 KPR. Yeah, he's going to take over the games. It's a fat dub in the column for Cloud9. Raze Reyna, baby. It's double duelist. They're going to take over the game. He's going to be better than Nisao on Split. He's a fucking demon! I mean, in reality, it is an L, but I had to give him a dub somewhere. I mean, they're such a good team.
I just love this graphic is so aggressive.
It's so good.
I made it. I'm like, this is just too screenshotable. I can't change it now.
Yeah, I mean, this is considering where we're at with Cloud9, like, oh, they'll have to figure some stuff out, but it shouldn't be too bad. The fact that the whole screen just says Cloud9 losers is, I mean, it's the definition of screenshot this and don't listen to what we're saying, and you've just got all of the mold you ever need.
Reddit post
Move
is
on to the
gonna be
next
great.
team quickly. Quickly move on. No, don't change me to an L. Move on.
No.
Move on quickly. All right, Team Liquid. Team Liquid. So they've got a couple of, I mean, they've got 3 players here that have played Chamber in the past. I mean, Yampy was playing full-time Chamber. Safe was playing a shit ton of Chamber. Nats was playing some of it as well. So are they just by default a loser of the Chamber patch?
Fuck no, they got Nats. You can play Cypher and fucking free. Nats Cypher over. GG. W. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You can have either Safe or Yampy
W.
on Jet. You get the Nats on the traditional Sentinel. You fucking smile about it, and you type a big dub in the column.
Okay. I'm not as convinced, guys.
what's the,
Okay. Because
about what part of it?
Yampy.
What about it? He plays everything.
I know Yampy does play everything, but if we're in,
Don't
If we're in
worry.
a jet-
Scream is gone.
if we're in a jet meta, I don't know. I've seen some wonky shit.
I mean, Safe can play the Jet though.
Safe can play jet, but I don't think that that's then leaning on the strengths of how your team's really built compared to how I was thinking about it in the past. But no, listen, I think it probably is still a dub just because Nats is so good on those roles that getting him on those roles is fantastic. And yeah, you can have Yampy play like Smokes or something, but I don't see how this team naturally fits. So let's say Nats is playing full-time Sentinel, okay?
Yeah.
And then maybe like Yampy or Redgar is going to be on Smokes, and one of the others of them is, I don't know, Safe is going to be playing like one of the flex positions, and Yampy's on full-time entry. I guess I'm just not completely enamored with how this team is going to change. And the best performances, Safe is a fantastic player, but the best performances I've seen from him were when he was at LAN playing Chamber, actually. And the same for Yampy. I feel like his best was when he could focus fully on the Chamber. I mean, actually, maybe his best was even the year before, where he was playing a fuck ton of stuff out of LCQ, but he didn't maintain that peak. I just think the roles here get a little messed up, apart from you must have Nats on Sentinel.
Which also, by the way, like, what about the Viper maps where you want Nats on Viper 100%?
Yeah.
Well,
that'd
yeah, I mean, there's not many of those left.
I'm going to take a little L for Liquid.
Man, there's only one of those left.
Yeah, I'm going to take an
I
L
mean, he
for
doesn't
liquid.
even need to necessarily.
Listen, he
You
would
have a
be playing.
smoker plate
He would be
like
playing
this,
Viper on
Icebox.
Bind. He'd be playing Viper on Breeze. Both excellent maps. I mean, even if he wasn't playing Viper on Breeze, he'd be playing, Cypher or something and popping off there. I don't know. I'm not.
Wait, you're talking about the maps being out though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about how those would be excellent strengths for Nats.
Oh, you're saying they'd be good? Okay.
Yeah,
I see
they
what
would be
you're saying.
amazing. I mean, Nats. Yeah.
I
I'm
think
on
having
the
that-
edge with
Nats
this
on
team, but I'm
Cypher's
going to go
just so
L.
good.
I'm going to go L to balance.
Down to balance.
This
For
is
balance.
This is a tough one. This is a very tough one.
Just think about Nat's Cypher, Wyatt. It's the
I
only
know.
thing you need
That's
on your
what I
mind
am.
right now.
That's what I am thinking about. That is what I am thinking about.
And it's buff Cypher.
He'll just be so unlocked. It's not about him. That's a W for that. But in totality is the problem.
Yeah.
Is that enough to push it over the W edge?
Can Watts
Also, what
drag the rest
happens
of
if
his
I
team around?
select an L and we're at a? I mean, then it's up to Kurt, I suppose.
Of course. It's
Yeah.
up to me.
Kurt always has the power at the end of the day. He turned mine into an L at the end anyway.
Man,
Can we?
I'm on the edge.
I would.
Wait, you wanted to? Oh, you were talking about the previous one.
Yeah, the cloud
Got
one.
it.
This is really tough. This is really tough. I'll just go.
Are there
L.
any
I'm on the
players
edge.
you want to look at? I
I'm
can
gonna
pull up
g-
the stats.
No,
No, you're just going out. Okay.
I'm going
Doesn't
L.
care.
I've ran the numbers. I've done all the
We call you
calculations.
to the podium.
It's
Uh,
slim, but it's an L.
It's an easy dub.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair outcome. That's a pretty fair outcome. All right, let's move on to another team then that's going to be playing in Red Bull Homeground. It's 100 Thieves. So they pick up Cryo, who's a great chamber player, but also we've seen Cryo play, Jet before and be excellent there too. Is this a dub or an L for the chamber patch?
This is a peculiar one for me because old 100 Thieves with Will, I'm instantly huge W. They didn't love playing Chamber anyway. They weren't super big on implementing it. But even like Champions XSET, Cryo was like hard one tricking Chamber. Like he is John Chamber. He's Mr. Chamber. So, I don't know. Thinking about the roles, I think you can have Cryo play on the Jet. He's a very good Jet player. That used to be his mainstay. And he's played it before. You get a lot of flexibility from Asuna. You can do it. 100 Thieves was doing it like the end of the Will era, where he's like kind of fully transitioned for the most part over to playing like the Flash Initiator, Flex role. Maybe you play some weirdo double duelist comps. But I feel like this is the team where like I'm not super big if it's an L or a W. I feel like this is just fine for them. I think you can flex Cryo to Jet. I think it'll be good, but I would have liked it so much better if it was the chamber meta and you can just perma Cryo chamber and then just let Asuna play Raze and flex around and do whatever. Then it just feels perfect. But now I'm on the fence. I want to hear other opinions. I need to be influenced.
How likely is it that you think people like Cryo, like Yay, like who else do we even have to put in that column? Like I don't know, CNED, I guess. Like these kind of people that are mostly known for being dominant Jets in the Jet meta, being dominant Chambers in the Chamber meta. How likely is it that they transition to being really good Raze players or really good, I mean, what other people, Phoenix, there's a Phoenix, Reyna meta. Actually, Reyna I don't think is as interesting a question because Reyna is take a duel and get out in a somewhat similar way to Jet and Chamber, but the other duelists function really quite differently in terms of how you're set up by your team and how you set yourself up. Do you think it's a given that these players are just going to be great on Raze? Like, should we, by default, have faith that Cryo is going to be a really top Raze player?
Cryo's never going to play Raze on this team, though. I don't think.
Yeah, but
Asuna's
then...
just such
Why?
good Raze.
Asuna didn't necessarily play Raze on the Raze maps back.
Yeah,
back
Will
in the
played
other-
Raze on
Yeah,
like
but I think
half of
that-
it.
That was
I think
Will
it's-
who showed
yeah,
a lot
but
more
Will-
willingness to play Raze than Cryo has in the past.
But
I
is
don't
it
think Cryo's really
willingness,
ever
or is
played
it just
Raze.
that Chet and Chamber were so busted that it was better to have people specializing in them?
And also you had Zekin on the team, so Cryo didn't ever need to
True.
even consider that.
Well, isn't that the same case here with Asuna to some degree? Arguably?
Yes, but now the question is, if we give Asuna Raze maps, where do we put Cryo? Do we flex him to like that Flash Initiator role? Because that feels like a really far cry. It feels like it's better to just maybe have Cryo learn that agent.
Yeah. And that's that's the way I think most teams are going to be approaching it. Is a player that likes to take a lot of fights, the player that used to be the Jet, the Chamber, the contact agent, probably now needs to start getting really good at Raze over the offseason. And they have a long time to do it before Sao Paulo. I mean, not before Red Bull Homeground, but that's not on a different patch. So should we just be thinking about, these players as like giving them the benefit of the doubt? Where'd you come down on it? Would you have faith that Cryo's going to pop off on Raze?
I think for Cryo, yeah, it's fair to do so, but I think the way I draw the line is when I've seen them play or attempt like tens to play Raze, and it's shit, then that's where I'm like, okay, it's a problem. But for other people,
oh my god, I forgot about this history. Okay, so when I used to, this is the ancient era, like 2021, when I used to cast like all the tier 2 tournaments, he was on Soar, who is like Pug Stars, which was a team that was winning every Valorant Sunday Showdown, which is just like a weekly tournament that used to be a lot bigger than I think it is now. But he was pretty much exclusively a Sova main back then and was actually really good at playing the initiator role. But he's never played like the dive duelists. He's never played like Raze or Neon pretty much ever. He's only ever played like the contact duelists, like the Jet Chamber kind of stuff. So, and I guess Reyna a little bit too. So I guess he's shown some flexibility in the past. I'm not saying put him on fucking Sova. I think that's a crazy idea with how good he is, but I don't know.
Derek. I mean, this is unnecessary. Okay, here's my thing. This is why I'm going to give it a W, and it doesn't really have anything to do with Cryo. It has to do with that 100 Thieves never even really wanted to do much with Chamber anyhow. It was always a struggle point for them. They wanted to lean into Cypher. They wanted to have Stellar on Cypher. Mike really likes running Cypher on a lot of the maps. One of the maps they really like doing that on is Split, which is coming back into the pool. They prefer running Cypher on Breeze, but it's just tough when Chamber was so fucking busted. This is what they wanted to lean into and wanted to be doing anyhow. Also, Killjoy is going to be better, and I think Killjoy, at least at a point, was the agent that I thought Stellar was playing the best on, a little bit around before he joined 100 Thieves, when Killjoy was actually still being played a little bit. So I think that's a perfectly good agent for him to be on. I just think this is actually going to lean into what they want, and I think on the maps where Cryo is playing Jet, I think Cryo is poised to be like top. I think he might be. He's like at least one of the top duelists coming into the year, like top few. Yeah. And I think if he's back on Jet full time, or at least like somewhat full time on those maps, is just he might be the I might be hot take, but I think he might be. If Jet is being played as much as we're theorizing, I think he might be the best Jet at the beginning, like top half of the year.
Okay.
So
I think that there's enough reasons for me to make it a W.
Okay. I'm going to go with the dub as well for slightly different reasons. I mean, some of the ones that you've said too, but I'm just thinking more about the map pool. And maybe I should have thought about the map pool as well when we were talking Cloud9, because they've historically hated Bind too. And they used to be pretty good at Split or whatever. But I feel like for 100 Thieves, they've always enjoyed playing the Split kind of maps. They've not been amazing at it before, but having the like coordinated utility kind of stuff has been favorable for them. They enjoyed playing the kind of style with with Cypher, which I think is more important than whether or not their players are necessarily aligned perfectly to it. And they were also really good at Pearl when it first released, and I think they're gonna probably just be good by virtue of their like team structure and their coaching staff of being able to pick up a new map when it drops, whatever the new map is. So I'm going to go with a dub on this one. 5.12 is 100 Thieves time.
Yeah. Also, if I didn't space out Split, if you remember at the beginning of this team's existence, Split was their best map too.
It was, yeah.
Yep. W, simply because Stellar was already playing Cypher on a lot of these maps. W.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they wanted in old 100 Thieves. My initial read when they picked up Cryo was that they wanted to lean back into Chamber, expecting Chamber to still be really good. That's obviously been nerfed now. I think this team has proved in the past that they're really good at adapting and staying away from agents like Chamber. So I think, yeah, strictly off the core, this will be fine. The roles might be a little bit weird sometimes, but you have Asna who can pound on pretty much any role, and you have Cryo who has plenty of time to learn another role if they want to make a change. So I'm not as confident in saying a W as I did with like a Na'Vi or even with the last team, but I think this is still a slight dub for 100.
The slight dub in the column, the small dub, the lowercase dub in the column.
Can we downsize the W? Maybe like put like winners, like
shrink the
little small winners.
The viewers can zoom out. Just zoom out at home.
Okay, zoom out.
Now we move on to the
Context
most.
does not matter when you're taking screenshots, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
true.
Everyone smile.
That's true. Let's move on to the next one, the most important one. Do the viewers win or lose? The people at home, the people of the internet, the viewers, the Timmies, the fans at home. Do you guys win or lose?
Yes, because Jet is a funny agent, and I like watching Jet kill people.
God, that's good. I like the AI-generated selfie next to Walter. They kind of got similar facial hair.
God.
That's his mouth.
Wait, sorry. You, damn, Kurt, that's you. You took that selfie. Sheesh.
Holy shit.
That's not
Giga
me.
Jet.
Oh,
That's
I just
just-
figured you.
I just
plugged in your
Googled AI
picture.
generated selfie.
Yeah, that's the first one. That's generic human. Generic, definitely not incredibly attractive to an unproportionate value human. I'm putting a dub in the column already. Anything that provides more variety, that takes you into a different direction with a new map and stuff like that is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a fun idea. I like the idea of it. Get Killjoy, get Cypher back in there. We haven't seen him in a while. Variety is the spice of life, after all. Fucking dub.
Yeah, big dub for the viewers. Right time to do it before the league starts next year. Something new to watch. Dub.
I'm thinking of the most meta argument I can make to make myself give an L, but it's really hard. I'm trying to stretch. Mimi, go first. I got one. I think it's cooking.
What? What'd you
Mimi,
say to me?
W
I was
or L?
typing
All right, I got it.
W. I already said W. I started by saying W. I was the first W.
I see.
All right, this is a big L, okay? And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's along the veins of why the fucking chamber nerf, like the idea of this balance approach being bad, because what if they buff him again? He's not actually fucking changed by any fundamental measure. He's just fucking sitting there, and it just takes one little change. Just make his trip global again, and the guy's back. And also, it shows that there's a willingness to continue to have freaking teleports and untradeability shit in the game that is so bad.
God.
It's so bad for the game.
There's no helping this guy. There's no helping him. He's
So
determined to be
I
upset.
like where he's taking us. I like where he's taking us.
L.
L. Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, he's just a miserable man in the top right corner. All right. It's a winner for the viewers. Kurt said it. It's a dub for all the Linuses, Swag Cats, Staring Hamsters, Walters, and NI-generated selfies out there. Okay, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about Red Bull Homeground and preview that tournament a little bit. And then, I don't know, we've got some other stuff after that, I think. Bye.
Hey.
All right. Oh, 5 minutes. I thought it was 3.
Well, I mean, we could do 3 minutes, but I just clicked 5 minutes.
That's okay. I mean,
I have some entertainment for the break. This is a paper I wrote on why this meta will be better. The Jet meta in Valorant has been very popular and powerful choice for viewers to experience. It has been widely accepted as the go-to character pick for players and viewers alike. It allows for a great amount of versatility and maneuverability, while also providing a great amount of utility. It can be used to rush through the map, clear out angles, and set up strong smokes. However, there are some drawbacks to Jet meta in Valorant. We have been discussed by the community. The biggest issue with the Jet meta is lack of diversity. Valorant is meant to be a team-based shooter, but the Jet meta often results in teams playing the same character. This can lead to a lack of strategic options for viewers, as teams will often play similarly. In addition, the lack of diversity can lead to stale matches, as teams may struggle to find new and creative ways to play. Another issue with the Jet meta is the lack of long-term strategy. Because of the high mobility of Jet, players often rely on quick flicks and rushes to get kills. This can lead to games that are fast and exciting, but it can also lead to games that are quickly over and...
Wow, that was fantastic. Can you can you generate some conversation around our show? You know,
Sure.
like what the people think of Plat Valorant, for example, something like that. Or these are the problems with Plat Valorant. Maybe something more along those lines. I'd like to know what the computer is thinking about us. You know, I know what the people think, but I want to know what the AI thinks.
Let's see what the AI thinks. Oh man, this Plat Chat Valorant episode was not enjoyable. It felt like the topics about Valorant weren't even related to the game. I feel like the episode was a waste of my time. Hashtag Valorant, hashtag Plat Chat Valorant.
That sums up every episode we've ever done. I like that.
Another
Have you got
one.
a positive
Twitch
message for
chat.
us?
Oh, I have another message. Twitch chatter, sigh. This episode of Plat Chat Valorant is so boring. Twitch moderator. Hey everyone, let's try and keep the conversation civil and focused on Valorant. If you don't like the topics, please suggest something else to discuss or take a break.
Wow, that's great. We don't have any moderators in the chat. I don't think.
Oh no, it looks like the Plat Chat Valorant episode didn't quite hit the mark with viewers. It's always a bummer when that happens. Let's see what the people are saying. Viewer 1. This episode was so boring. Nothing interesting was talked about. Viewer 2. Yeah, I'm not sure why they decided to talk about topics that weren't even related to Valorant. Twitch. That's unfortunate. We want to make sure viewers are always engaged and interested in the topics we're discussing. We'll definitely keep that in mind for future episodes.
I missed a super chat as well, actually, an hour ago from Chuck McLean, which appreciate the super chat, who said, if you place the anchor on Ascent A retakes, you can jump out of heaven to generator and still TP back up now that verticality doesn't matter. I hadn't really thought about stuff like
true.
that. No? How is that not true?
You can't TP still, and it doesn't. It reads like you can TP midair, but you can't TP midair.
No, sorry. I mean, I think he means when you've landed. So, like, you put
Oh
it
yeah,
up
yeah.
top,
Okay, that's true. Yes.
you
That's
land, you realize that you're in a bad position, and you can TP back up. So you could use it as like a clearing mechanism, I guess. Like you put your body on the line, and unless you die in midair, you could grab some info or something. There might be
Dear
some really
Chuck.
cool things that people can do with that.
I just wanted to reach out and say a huge thank you to you for your generous donation to the Plat Chat Valorant YouTube channel. Your support means so much to us, and it's because of people like you that we are able to continue doing what we love. We are grateful for your contribution, and we hope to continue to bring you lots of exciting content in the future. Thanks again for your kindness and generosity. Sincerely, the Plat Chat Valorant team.
Wow. Do you think
So,
we could make
thank
an
you for
entire
remembering.
episode where we just have topic title and generate one talking point for each person, next
Yes.
topic, and it's
Yes.
all just chat GPT?
Honestly,
Okay, if we did that,
Can we feed it like stuff that we say though?
yeah, you can. You can feed it like, tell me why Jet is going to be so good on this patch or something like that, I think.
No, I meant like feed like a ball of TW model.
I'm not sure about
okay.
that.
You can't. It's not quite that advanced, but I do have some takes, just kind of a preview for our next topic. In my research, I've found that in the MABR versus Leviathan series at the Movistar LATAM or the LATAM Gods tournament thing, both teams look hot. MIBR had some new faces on their roster, such as Vito, King, Giuseppe, Johan Phelps, Vascolines, and Ricardo Boltz-Pras. I just butchered all those names. I'm so sorry. And has some new strategies that paid off in their series against Leviathan. Leviathan, on the other side, had their new roster and some fresh faces and strategies that allowed them to take the series against MIBR. Both teams had the potential to win the tournament, and both showed great performance throughout the tournament. That's my take, personally.
You know what? It would just be filled with so much misinformation because there's no basic fact checking on like who won the recent game or anything like
Well, here's
that.
the thing. The
God
AI was
forbid
trained
there's
in 2021.
misinformation on
It does not know
Plat.
anything that happened in the last year.
Oh, so it doesn't even know about Chamber.
No, it doesn't know about
wonder.
Chamber. Unaware.
Intriguing.
That's why the AI
intriguing.
is so joyous.
All right, let's talk about Red Bull Homeground. It's a tournament that's happening this weekend with a bunch of the teams that we just went through
Yeah.
as well, right? It's like Liquid, 100 Thieves,
It's pretty
Cloud9.
poggers.
Yeah, it looks sick. It does look
Pretty
very good.
poggers.
There have been other like regional tournaments. From what I remember, though, this and Valorant India are the only cross-regional events we've had so far. I might be capping out of control. Oh, there was the Gwangju tournament that had the Asian
Korea
teams
and
competing
Japan.
as well. Yeah, Korea,
Oh,
Japan,
and
stuff like
actually, no, sorry, even
The Superdome, right?
Thailand.
that.
Superdome only had EU teams.
Yeah,
and
but I mean that
MENA teams.
that just had EU teams and MENA teams, which are I mean technically the same kind of region. So
Yeah.
anyway, that might be literally misinformation. I might have just chat GPT'd all over you with literal lies on the internet. Anyway, Red Bull Homeground. It looks pretty sick. Let's take a look at the groups, and I want to go through some preds, which groups are stacked, which matchups are going to be interesting, that kind of shit. So they booted one of the teams out. They booted Big out and added was it Heretics as the last minute one?
Heretics, yeah.
Yeah. So Big won the grand finals, and then bye-bye. I don't know. I mean, maybe Big just couldn't attend or something. I don't know. I literally don't know.
No idea.
Any
No.
knowers?
Who knows?
God, I think there was some drama related to it. I think it's because one of the players is playing on one of these teams, or maybe that was how it was in G-Loot. Oh, was it Twistin is playing for Vitality, and he was on Big that qualified for the team. Is that correct? Am I thinking correctly here?
Yeah, Twiston is there. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's on two teams. So instead of like allowing Big to go search for a fifth, they just kicked them out and invited Heretics.
Yeah. Well, Heretics, they have more viewers that we could get for the tournament. So,
I mean,
That's
come
pretty
on, play
fucked.
Mixwell.
if that, I mean, but that's horrendous if true. But I need to put the if true in there because I really haven't looked into
Well,
it. at all.
there was
Right now.
reports about it. Hold on,
Oh,
let me
was
go
there?
look for it while you guys discuss.
Okay,
I'll go
okay.
look
Let's-
for it.
Let's
discuss.
vaguely look at Group A then, while Bala's hunting for information as a rare break on this show. Group A looks pretty interesting. We've got Crew in there, so it's not just a team that's a couple of teams from the US. It's also we get a chance to look at Crew without Kesnit, Mazzino. So very different look towards Crew. I think most of us were thinking that this team would get a little weaker with the loss of their two best players, but the group that they're in is going to be so interesting because you get to see them clash against Cloud9 and then two of the weaker teams, I would say, from Europe, not all-star teams. Right? I think that's fair.
I mean, I think there's a difference between focus and vitality. Vitality
Yeah.
are definitely stronger. Also important to note that this tournament is on the patch where Chamber is still giga busted. So
Yes, 5.10.
you would think Cloud9 are going to feast in this group, and I fully expect them to feast in this group.
Do you think people will run 5.12 like Chamber nerf comps as prep? Because this tournament doesn't have a crazy prize pool, right? Like, can you scroll up a little bit? Yeah, 100,000. I mean, that's actually pretty decent as a prize pool. That's pretty high. But I feel like for a team like Cloud9, it might just be more useful to test out your ideas for the upcoming patch, prepping for Sao Paulo rather than trying to win with Ye on Chamber. I don't know.
I think that's pretty reasonable to do. I think it's also nice because for a lot of these teams, especially the ones that have made changes and are kind of playing together with their new team for the first real time here, this event is going to be really nice because it's in LAN. Everything next year is going to be in person, LAN events, Sao Paulo. With that, just a good way to kind of get used to each other, get some officials under your belt. So that's actually the fucking like the sports mentality storyline that I just spit. I'm so sorry about that one. Yeah, they gotta get some experience out on the court, get the new players feeling each other. The LAN experience super huge, but I think there's reason to try new stuff. Especially for the teams that you'd expect to be pretty dominant in this one, like your Cloud9s, even your Crews, your Liquids, your 100 Thieves, that kind of stuff.
Well, let me. You said Crew there. Is Crew expected to get out of that group? Listen, Cloud9 is. Cloud9 is expected to get out of that group. Who's the second team? Who's the third team? Who's getting out?
There are three teams getting out, and I think Crew should get out. I would expect that it'll be Cloud9, Vitality, and Crew. And then Vitality and Crew fighting for the second spot.
Yeah.
So your eyebrows have raised. Do you disagree?
Isn't Crew trolling with their roster? Hold on, let me refresh my memory.
They're doing a bit of trolling.
They're trolling, right? Yes, they're
It's
trolling.
not that troll.
It's doing a little bit of trolling, isn't it? Haven't they got like
This isn't that troll.
they've got
Come on.
3 op players on their team. I mean, I guess Shandy doesn't have to be opping, and maybe Davies isn't going to be either. But I'm
Shandy's
pretty
a strong rifler. It doesn't need to be opping.
yeah.
Here's how I'll put it. I think they have a chance of not making out of the group, and that's already bad for a partnership team against Focus, who's going to be playing the VRL. It's a good team, and they made it to Challengers last year, but I think that would be a bad look.
That would be a bad look. I think they should beat Focus, though.
Are they
with this
likely to
roster.
lose to the other two teams? Because in that case, it puts it directly in the head-to-head Crew focus. I think Crew would probably not be favored against a Vitality and a Cloud9. They have chances to win, of course, but I would consider them the underdogs in that match. If they go 0-2, I don't know when exactly they play focus, but it might come down to just a straight-up head-to-head between them, as in,
I think
who
that's
goes
the most
0-3.
likely result. Yeah, I do think that's most likely. I think they could beat Vitality. I feel like Cloud9 with the Chamber patch, I'm assuming all these teams are just going to be playing optimized to the Chamber patch because also they've been practicing in the off season on that patch and that meta.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
and this new patch is just coming around the corner. I'm going to assume they're just playing what they've been playing and are going to try to win with that.
Okay.
And if that is the case, which it probably will be, I think Cloud9 should just snack on that group. But I think Vitality are a fairly clear second, though Crew could beat them. I favor Vitality, and I think, it's Crew versus Focus for the third spot, and I think Crew are favored.
Pretty sick position for Focus to be in, actually, playing against 3 other partnership teams where there's still opportunity to sign these players, right? You had to lock in your primary roster, but that doesn't mean that you have to stick to it the entire time throughout the season. I think for Yugi or Purpo, who's been hanging around the top end of the scene for a long time, or even your boy Lewis, who looked fairly impressive in the Challenger circuit over in Europe. There are players here that, if they impress at a tournament like this on LAN, people might start looking at them to swap up some small pieces to their roster heading forwards, or maybe even as like a 6th player if they wanted to, if that interests the players at all.
Well, they'd have to get bought out of their whatever contract with Focus too, because they all just re-signed on that team.
Yeah. True.
But yeah,
True.
pretty cool still.
Yeah.
The context, by the way, there was not really any serious report or anything like this, but Big did drop the roster entirely after Twistin signed to Vitality officially. So I think that's part of the reason why Red Bull decided, hey,
Right.
like the org is actually not going to be involved in this, and maybe they are interested in having the orgs being the guys who are covering it. But
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Okay. So moving on to Group B then.
Far more interesting.
Group B is a stacked group. Whereas Cloud9 are the clear favorites in Group A, Group B is even, or at least has a lot of even parts to it too. Who's the favorite?
I think 100 Thieves are definitely the favorite because I think we can talk about it after this, but 100 Thieves are my pick to win this.
The whole tournament?
Yeah. Reason being, I think 100 Thieves were upward trajectory all year. And now we've arrived at this place where we're on the same meta they were practicing on previously, but they just plugged in one of the god duelists that currently exists into the position that they were in most need of an upgrade for. And I think that should just take them over the top, especially in this meta that they've been playing and been improving in without a serious chamber player for the year. So I think that's I think it's super easy for them to just fit in cryo and seriously level up. And they were already on the upward trajectory. They've already got a foundation that they've been working from. I think they should be pretty nasty in this tournament.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable point. I mean, 100 Thieves are a top team that haven't really made too many changes, and this is still fairly early on in the off season, or maybe we're about halfway through the off season, something like that. But I think a lot of people will be wanting to take a punt on a Cloud9 in a different group, or a Liquid, or maybe even a Heretics, actually, judging by the decent performances we saw from them recently, to overtake them. How reasonable do you think that is, Bar and Mimi? Do you think it's possible for a team that's been put together, newly? I guess this team actually does have somewhat of a pre-existing core that have played together before. But if you're talking about Liquid, for example, there's many more pieces there that need to be worked together, and to some degree Cloud9 too. But let's focus on Liquid for a moment. Do you think Liquid can overtake where 100 Thieves were at in order to get out of the group ahead of them, to win the tournament, that kind of thing?
I agree with Wyatt. I do think 100 Thieves is the favorite of this group. I think that's very, very reasonable to say. But I would probably argue for Team Liquid being the closest second. I think that, well, they only really have that very small core, and it is basically rebuilding from the onset for this team. They have a lot of really fantastic players. You get kind of Nats and Redguard to bring ideas over. Do we know, is Yampy still going to be calling for this team, or is it going to be Redgar? Or
It's got to be Redgar.
It's Redgar?
If Yampy's IGLing, oh.
That would be cringe. That would be very cringe. But yeah, I think they've had plentiful time to try and put something together.
What was that?
That's a death rattle. I mean, listen, I don't know what noises you're used to hearing.
What is a death rattle?
That was okay. This is the
You a rattlesnake?
The sound effect in Dies of Cringe goes like this. And then the guy falls over.
Okay,
Wait,
that was
Dice of
different.
Cringe has a sound effect? I thought it was just a GIF.
Yeah,
it's from a film.
It is, but I like
It's
to
from a
think what I'm
major
imagining.
motion picture.
Yeah, mate, I've
What
watched
motion picture?
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, I was coping about Team Liquid. Yeah, I think
Not cope.
it's not that cope, but it's a little bit of cope. I think that Redgar is not jail. I have a lot of faith in him. I think the pieces of this team are pretty awesome. They've never shown anything before, so you kind of get that advantage of being, ooh, we're the mystery team, blah, 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 coming into this one. So yeah, I think it is pretty reasonable to say that those teams will be somewhat evenly matched, even if I do favor 100 Thieves group.
I think you're capping off a stack. Everybody, Team Liquid is the favorite, and there's no.
Oh my god.
Here
You're
comes-
such I mean, this is just the classic Balla simping for Gambit. I mean,
Yep.
that's all this is.
Yeah.
From Gambit to Mech
They're
to
not-
Liquid, you cannot stop coping.
And I'll tell you why.
How?
There's
They're
a couple
not.
different things. A couple different the streets are talking type of situations here. Number one,
Oh, here we
I
go.
heard,
Oh my god.
I heard that KC Corp is right. This is it's related. Okay, I know you guys are like, what the fuck, KC Corp? We're not talking about. We're talking about KC Corp is
You mean
running some
Carmen
whack
Corp?
ass. Yeah. Carmen Corp with Screaming Navarre wanting
Yeah.
some whack ass comp. So I think you've taken the rot out of Team Liquid finally. It's not Yampy's fault. Okay, let's just
Wow.
make it clear. It's not Yampy. It's not Soulcast. It's elsewhere. Okay, and now
Right.
that has gone away. Okay, number two. Nat said hi to me in a stream.
Oh my dude, you're so giddy.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And he's
That's
like,
what this is based
It's
on.
like your crush said hi to you in the hallway while you're walking to biology. It just good lord. So
you know,
giddy.
it's not totally worth or based on stuff like that. Obviously, there's real reasons because Nats-
all right, what are the real reasons?
the real reasons is I think people overvalue the amounts that a structured strat book actually brings to a tournament when everybody's fucking gonna be just slapping you in the face with random shit anyways, right? It's not something that you could super prep for or tailor your strat book towards. So having that experience for 100 Thieves together against a field of teams that are completely made up, essentially, where they're just going off of new shit completely, is not that big of a deal. And I think a lot of times you see these teams who are recently formed actually have like I mean, you could just call it a honeymoon phase, but realistically what it is, it's a small chemistry buff because everybody is just learning about each other, right? So you're going to see these guys all Cloud9, Liquid, Heretics you might have already seen that. Might have been a reason why they were playing very well at the India Invitational, but all that sort of thing matters. And just because you're the one standout team that has experience together does not make you the favorites. I would say 100 Thieves' ceiling is much, much lower than some of the teams that are being put together, like Team Liquid, like Cloud9.
I think it's undeniably fair to say, though, that 100 Thieves are going to be the measuring stick by which other teams are, measured against, because they're the only team that we have any idea what their previous level was. And like you said, we're on a very similar patch with a direct upgrade. So you're expecting 100 Thieves to be just minimum as good as they were at Champs and on the run up to that. And they should be a bit better. So if other teams are significantly better than them, then holy shit, it's like...
I think they should be a lot better. I
Sure,
think,
just
I
with
think
the
that's
ejection of cryo.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
you've just plugged in a god tier duelist into the easiest kind of plug and play switch out you can make. I think they should be seriously leveled up, and I believe in Mike. That's why I got the Iowa sweatshirt on today. You know what I'm saying? From the cornfields to Manchester. You know when the 100 Thieves jet touches down in Des Moines on the way back, all the Iowan citizens are going to be out there cheering.
Mike's. Yeah, I can.
I believe
all
it.
three of the Iowan citizens.
I really do believe in it. I believe in the team. I believe in Mike. I think that this is like a great tournament for them to win. Honestly, I feel like it's set up for them to take it down.
I believe in MCE as well, though. I definitely do. I think there's some good. So what are some big like player storylines to latch onto here? Because I think the team ones are fairly obvious. You know, we've already talked them to death. But in terms of looking at the groups, are there any player head-to-heads or stuff like that that really excites you? Because when I look at Group A, I'm not that excited by many of the head-to-heads. I think it'll be interesting to see if the focus players can make a splash. But really, when I'm looking at Group A, I'm just looking at like what they're going to do when they hit the playoffs and play against Group B.
I mean, I would just say, Frank, I feel like this Cloud9 roster on this patch that they've been practicing on, I think they should dominate this group. And if they don't, I think that's worrying.
Yeah.
I think...
Go on, Ball.
Y'all are sleeping on Vitality, and when you want to talk about like player head-to-heads and whatnot, I'm really excited to see Twisted and Molesy go up against the likes of Ye and other top players, because we haven't seen them ever at international competition. So that's really, really cool just to be able to see, like, okay, are they actually... we haven't seen them on LAN even. So that's another aspect too of a number of these teams is, well, Vitality specifically. I think that those guys are the dark horses in this, and I think people are potentially sleeping on the possibilities of them doing very well this season.
They got crazy firepower. They got crazy firepower across the board as well, actually.
Yeah. I feel like they should be top 4 for sure in this.
Vitality should be top 4.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, I think they're a dark horse, but for sure is like, further than I would go, I think. But yeah.
I think they should definitely be top 4.
Okay.
So it'd be like, this isn't in order, but like C900 Thieves, Liquid, and Vitality. I think are the top 4.
Right. Yeah. I think that's not unreasonable. I thought that Heretics played fairly well, but on paper, I do think Vitality looks like a better project than Heretics. It's just that Heretics ended up doing all right, looking fairly coordinated. Are we sleeping on Footballist as well? Anybody on Footballist that you're interested in looking at?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Mr. Fallon?
I'm interested. Mr. Fallon.
100%.
But they just bombed out of that G-Loot thing, so I'm not excited for them. And I hope we actually had a long discussion about Foot. About the G-Loot thing. And
I mean, I'm not.
Hey, there was a Turkish team that did pretty well. They're not in partnerships.
I would just. I mean, I guess what is the storyline? It's a chance for them to prove that they deserve the slot with these players. Kind of thing.
Sure.
They got the worst group possible to make that happen, though. Like, it's...
Yeah, I mean, they could reasonably be like... They could be a decent partnerships team and still not make it out of this group, right?
Right.
Possible.
You know, I mean, even if they, just get some... At least get some close games going. Something.
Yeah, win some maps.
Something, yeah.
Okay, all right, let's move on from this as well. Let's talk LATAM. So Crew is one of the teams that you can follow if you're looking at Red Bull Homegrounds. But there was a tournament, LATAM Gods, where we got to see some of the other teams clashing as well. And the finals had MIBR playing against Leviathan, and we got to see them kind of duke it out. And Leviathan is a weird team now. I mean, it's a team that looks really cool, but I think a lot of my question marks were about, who's going to play the smokes? Are they going to look decent with it? And they've managed to cruise through this tournament without hitting too many roadblocks.
Yeah, they did look really strong, and I'm excited for the team, but very weird operation they have going with this 6-man roster where they have Takolia and Kesnet switching out duelist spots on different maps, and they're both playing Jet and Raze, but just on different maps. They both each played Jet and Raze once. Yeah. It's very unorthodox. I mean, in this case, they did get the win with it, but also in this case, Taco was a demon on both of the maps that he played on. I mean, he was seriously outperforming the other players in the server and his other duelists on the team that was playing on some of the other maps. He had a
It's pretty
great
wild when
final
you're competing
performance.
against Heat and you're competing against Kesnit, right? Like those
Yeah.
are two players that we know have been able to perform at a top level on Duelist, which Taco's only really shown it on Chamber so far.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, overall though, I think if that stuff gets ironed out, or if it just, I guess, proves to keep working, then it's fine. But yeah, overall, excited for the roster for sure. They looked very strong. They got a great. I mean, there's not much to say other than that. Honestly, I feel like they got all the best players they possibly could together on this roster. They looked very strong. How are they going to manage the 6-man thing going forward is the question. If they manage it well, this could be one of the best teams.
Yep, I would agree. I think it was. I think specifically about Leviathan, it was. I actually asked owner like what the plan was with them, and obviously it was experimentation, like trying to figure out exactly what they want to do. Like it's not necessarily this is them gonna swap players the rest of the time. And he said specifically that that's not what they're going to do, and they're going to stick with one when the season comes around. But
Right. Okay.
this was them trying to figure out, okay, like what's going to work. And I know a lot of people were like speculating, like why not just, for example, move Shy off or whatever. And well, he didn't say anything about that. That is a place where you have to start thinking about the rules of the players and whatnot. And especially as we move forward into the non-chamber meta, it's definitely something that is more difficult to work around when the two guys are either playing your op or your duelist. So I don't know. I thought they still looked pretty good. I thought their protocols were nice, but they were definitely breaking down as time went on in the mid rounds, especially on the maps that they lost against MMBR, and that might be a problem, but it's also something I have full faith that they'll fix because they were a great mid round team throughout the year, and they have owner who is really, really good at making sure those situations are solidified.
They've also changed their IGL though, haven't they? Because
Yeah, I think it's Noswer now.
Yeah, it's now Noswer. So
Yeah, and do not sleep on Noswer. He was one of the primary reasons that I think Furia were always able to, I feel like, kind of punch above their weight at international events and always look like they could contest with other top teams. And why and I think a lot of that came down to the team play and to the calling, and also just individually, he's really, really strong on the initiators. He's a great fucking player, not to be slept on.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't
Look
had
at
a
his
lot of
final
opportunities
stats.
to show it. What's up,
His
Paul?
final stats, just to show something, I guess this is just the overall tournament stats, but which are very impressive for an initiator already to be in the top 4. But the final stats, like he was the top fragger actually, like he went plus 22 as the initiator.
yeah, he's the top fragger, but that's also Taco not playing all of the maps and dropping 300 ACS. You know, like he's the top fragger because they were swapping their duelists around a lot as well.
Yes.
I feel like Taco would have farmed had he had more opportunity to. But it's
He played
interesting when you
2
bring
maps.
up. What? Sorry.
Taco played 2 maps.
Yeah, but you can't top frag when you're playing 2 out of 3 of the map or 2 out of 4 of the maps. Yeah. But the role swaps and the juggling of players and stuff like that is always going to make your team play and calling a bit worse. If that's what you're trying to do is to figure out who should be playing all the time, then that seems like a decent thing to use the tournament for. It's confusing looking at this team. Didn't expect Mazzino to be playing smokes. I thought that'd be King. King was playing like some of the Viper, some of the other stuff. I didn't realize that Shy would be moving over to playing Sentinel for them too. I feel like there's just a lot of stuff still in a soupy form here that's still yet to play out, but a lot of potential with the team. Surely they're going to be one of the best in LATAM. It's just about whether or not they're going to hit the final formula to go further than they have done globally.
And I'm interested to watch more from. Go ahead, finish your point on Leviathan, Bala. Sorry, I want to talk about MIBR a little bit.
That'll good transition. I think this is very similar to like the Guangzhou tournament where you could see clearly that teams were experimenting, but a little bit of a more intense feel. Like this was with a lot of fans rooting for Leviathan. This was them actually playing their minds out in comparison to some of the trolling we saw at that Guangzhou tournament. So I think this is a good temperature check, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was also fairly impressed with MIBR this tournament. I thought they did solid for a team that's had a lot of changes coming in. I thought FRZ was playing like an absolute demon. It feels like they are very ready for kind of the chamber falling out of the meta for them, and I think it's going to be an interesting team to watch more. I'm always really, really happy to watch Sheet play because he is very cool Brazilian player who kills everyone. So yeah, I think MIBR showed some fun stuff and some potential, but overall, Leviathan, I think if they can kind of like finalize their role stuff and maybe just like keep Taco Leah killing everyone all the time, that team is going to continue to be really good. They made some great offseason moves.
What a great win con. Just have your best player kill
everyone.
I mean,
it worked.
I really like a lot of the players on MIBR, and now that they've brought in the new coaching staff and stuff, like they can definitely improve. There's room to grow, but goddamn, if they're not still stuck in this endless loop, I feel like of just being having this imbalance of firepower on their team, where there's often way too much pressure on Heat to go nuts, and I'm definitely concerned about that with the team going forward. But that being said, I still think that this could be a better version of that, like keyed MIBR core with the better coaching, that they can take it further and be better than they were before. How far is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not head over heels for the team, but they have some excellent players. So yeah. It kind of for me at the moment.
It'll be cool
Oh,
when
yeah,
we
I
see
forgot
Crew compete,
Bazooka is the one coaching this. Whoa, my brain has
poaching
turned.
and coaching. That's like Girl Boss Gatekeep.
Dude, my brain has actually turned off for this segment, but yeah, I completely forgot that it was Bazooka coaching this team now. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we can take things to the next level, but work to be done for sure.
It's pretty sick how the offseason is giving us little glimpses into the teams. I feel like definitely after Red Bull Homeground and seeing Crew, we'll have a bit of a better idea. And then, hopefully after there is another LAN tournament coming up, the like Ludwig Tarek. No. The Ludwig Tarek one that they did was like an influencer tournament. And then they're also doing the
next
LAN
one
with
is
proper
real.
teams.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I saw the little, what do they call it? Little Bro Cup or
Little
something?
Bro Cup.
And-
Sponsored by
and I was
Grubhub.
like-
Or sorry,
I was like,
delivered by Grubhub.
Please tell me that this isn't what that LAN turned into. But they are still doing another one afterwards. So yeah, I think once we get like some of those tournaments under the belt, it'll give us a pretty decent idea about some of the squads heading into Sao Paulo. Speaking about tier 2 though, there was an Ascension team that has been announced, and it's been rumored for a while, but it's been like properly announced here, and it looks kind of sick. And when you're thinking about Red Bull Homeground and Focus playing there, Focus are not a god tier Ascension team. They're a good one. They have chances to do damage in EMEA tier 2. But this North American team feels pretty stacked. It's the old like Ghost roster. It's the XSET organization that's created a new org. And did they announce it or did they just tease it?
They teased
From
it
when? Oh,
yesterday.
From 2 days ago. So it should be dropping tomorrow, I guess. The Bomb Squad. But it's the team with like EU, Xander, Nismo.
Dude, that can't be the name of the.
No, it's not going to be the name. That's just a slogan, right? It's going to be like.
It's definitely the name. It's the Bomb Squad for sure.
You think that's the org name, the Bomb Squad?
Yep.
Nah.
Well, no, I think that's just
Surely
I think that's
like
just like rep the set. It's going to be
the
related.
diffusers.
Or something.
Not the diffuse.
That's even
That's
worse.
so much worse.
What did you say, Mimi?
Diffusers.
What did
The
you think?
Bombardiers.
That's a little bit too much.
Los
I think it's the
bomberos.
Bomb Squad.
You think the team is just going to be
No.
called Bomb Squad?
No, if it's-
I'm not. I'm not gonna root for a team called Bomb Squad.
I don't want to get hung up
please.
on this, but they can't, Josh. They can't be called Bomb Squad.
Is XSET's management the ones that split from FaZe
Marco.
a long time ago?
Yes. Well, the president.
Well, it's just
he was,
the
he was the
yeah.
president of FaZe. And then
Right. And then he formed XSET.
It's the guy that was the esports guy of XSET, Marco, who was
Right,
like
so
kind
it's
of
not
in
the
charge
same
of all their
person that was
esports
originally on
stuff.
FaZe, because Bomb Squad sounds like a FaZe clan kind of thing, you know? That's what that was
Yeah.
the line that I was drawing in my brain. Was like, it sounds like, oh, let's come up with something that's esports
bomb
related, but
squad
also
is
like
like
you're the bomb, you know.
I was gonna say it's like an unsigned ESEA source team name. I mean, it's just
That sounds like an
dude, there's
org
been
that like
so
one
many.
person would make when they like off of their own like salary from working at McDonald's. You like make an org called the Bomb Squad.
Anyway,
I'm gonna stop making fun of their name. It's mean.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop
but
making fun of-
I want to fucking bat chest about this team because this team looks fucking sick. I loved Ghost Gaming so much. They were the team that I was like actually like so excited to watch every time when they were good at challengers. And I was also so excited to watch version 1 every time they were playing. And I feel like it's like the really good parts of both of those teams coming together. The amount of skill you have on this team. I think all of these players reasonably could have and maybe should have gotten an offer to play in the International League. Obviously, there's only so many spots, but just the amount of talent here is fantastic. You have Nismo, who proved himself the end of last year or this year, I don't know, whenever, of just being absolutely insane. You get Xander and EU, which is both really fantastic support players. You get Koala Noob now back in a Jet meta. Like, I think this team is going to be really, really sick.
And then, yeah, I mean, you missed a player off the end as well, but it's
John
QT,
QT, who's
right?
also pretty
Yeah.
pog.
Who's done a good job at IGLing as well. He was the IGL for Ghost.
Yeah, his
no?
calling on Ghost was awesome. And I don't know if it'll be him or Xander calling, but either way, I'm happy. Smile.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think it's John Cutie. I don't think Xander wants to IGL anymore, from what I was
Okay.
just hearing through the grapevine, but that might be incorrect. But yeah, this looks like a sick Ascension team, and I know that TSM are forming like another pretty big team as well, that their goal is to make it through Ascension. It seems like there's still going to be some heavy hitters in the Ascension tournament, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be sick to follow. I think it's going to be more interesting than the current like tier 2 circuit is to follow, because it's just
for sure.
the talent's more condensed.
Yeah. And there's G2, Guard, a lot of
God
banger
as
teams
well,
in NA.
yeah. Fuck, I forgot about
Shopify,
God.
FaZe,
FaZe. There's so many good teams.
Wait,
in
who's
NA.
on FaZe again, or who's rumored to be on FaZe again?
Baby
Same
Bay.
team.
It's literally the same team. Baby Bay
Same
boys,
team without
Dicey.
Wyatt, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that is, yeah. I mean, North
Superman.
American, the Ascension like circuit is looking kind of cracked. Is looking demonic.
Yeah.
Do you think that this team has a decent shot of being able to beat the rest, or is there no clear best NA Ascension team?
There's no clear best team. I'm not sure. I feel like you can't look at this team. Obviously, you can look at it and put them in the top category, but it's tough to say, are they going to be better than FaZe that we've been watching play for a while and we're really nasty?
God made it to an international event.
Yeah. I mean, Guards still have most of their roster, just everyone but Saya. The G2 team looks good. Yeah, who was it? The team they mentioned? Oh, TSM as well. I mean,
Yeah.
here we just got the full ultra spreadsheet.
The ultra spreadsheet. Yeah, but I mean, there's some good-looking teams out there, honestly, and I feel like it's gonna be to some degree inevitable that some of these teams are better than the bottom North American partnership teams as well. You know, some of the partnership teams will just explode or implode for reasons that might not have been foreseeable or might have been foreseeable, and then you've got some of these teams are just going to click and start dominating.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Kurt, can you scroll to the bottom left of this real quick, just for some the possible organizations joining? Keep scrolling. Oh, it's behind the lower third.
FlyQuest, SSG, Mad Lions, Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast.
Dude, if the full name is Mr. Beast's Bomb Squad, I'm so down for that. I would
That
be
would be
so down
awesome.
for that.
I mean,
That would be
that's so
awesome.
cheesy that it crosses the line into being
No,
amazing.
If it's no, that would work. That would definitely work. If that's true,
They're
that
my favorite
works.
team if
That
Mr. Beast
absolutely
sponsors
works.
them.
Mr.
That'd be
Beast
so
Bomb
awesome.
Squad, and they always come out eating a burger. They're obligated to take at least one bite of the burger, the Mr. Beast burger, before they sit down and play.
Every time they win a game, the celebration is eating a Mr. Beast branded Feastables chocolate bar on stage.
Is that a thing?
Yes,
I think
That is a
so.
thing.
Wow. Okay.
That is a thing.
Crazy. All right, sick. That wraps up some of the conversation for this week. I'm sure there's more that we could have talked about, but we're already going long. So
My Toasters Madness ran out. Let's end the episode.
exactly. It's Wyatt's weekly award.
this one again.
What?
3 weeks of that. I mean, it's a good one. Classic.
This is the goat. This is the goat one.
Yeah, I forgot to change it 3 weeks in a row.
Classic.
I like it. You're throwing the people off. They're like, surely Kurt's changed it this time. No, not the same
No,
one.
hasn't changed it. This week, it's an honest one. We're going back to honesty. Last week, Van Silly thought it would be funny to say that I gave it to him because he gave me a sub on Twitch, and he didn't.
Oh,
He
he's not
didn't
subbed
give-
to you. He's not currently
he didn't
subbed to you
give
on
me a
Twitch.
sub, and that's not
I'm
why
going to
I
your
gave
chat.
it to him.
Uh-huh.
And in a matter of fact, listen, I'm happy to retract it after the scenes we've witnessed on Twitter this week. I'm happy to retract that one. We're going back to honesty.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to give it to someone for the Valorant that they played,
Oh.
which is why I'm going to give it to Noswar.
Oh, okay.
For the
okay.
excellent Valorant that was played. We're going back to honesty with the weekly award. Taking down the tournament, MVP in my eyes, great addition to the team, underrated as hell. I think both him and the Leviathan squad should be super nice this year. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him and more of him on a even better team. I think he's really going to be highlighted as an excellent player for the franchising season this year. So, boom. Honest Weekly Award. Back to gameplay. Back to Valorant. Back to being real.
Nice. I like it. I appreciate that. Back to reality. Is anybody doing a co-stream here of the Red Bull Homeground? Is that something that is happening?
I don't know. Do you have to like
I
message him
don't
about
know
it or
how to get
something?
permission, but
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to try for Friday, but
Do it and see what happens.
Oh, do you have to get I
don't
just,
know.
I don't know. I
you
don't believe
always
in
need
streaming.
permission for every tournament you co-stream. Why would this even be a question?
I don't
Well,
know.
'cause
I don't
the
co-stream.
difference is-
I'm not an influencer.
Sometimes you can get away with it. That's some
Yeah,
some
right.
orgs
So
don't let you get away with it.
So what you're really
others
asking
do.
is Red Bull going to litigate if I steal their content?
yes.
They probably won't. They send us so much Red Bull. They love
They'll
us.
take your Red Bull away. They'll
They
send a
send us so
fucking
much
debt
free
collector to take the thousands of cans that you guys have consumed.
Please take them away. Our garage is filling up with Red Bull, and I need more room for
well,
the
now
gym
we
equipment.
definitely can't co-stream.
Please
so.
take the Red Bull away, or sponsor our stream, Red
Josh is
Bull. Why are
working
you
on it.
sending us stuff?
I did my job so far today. I've done what I can. I've done what I can.
Show. Absolute demon.
I've done what I can. Okay. Yeah, so maybe check out some of our co-streams for Red Bull Homeground. Otherwise, I'm sure some other people will be doing it, like Sliggy, for example, who was on last week. So that wraps it up for episode 115. When we do it next week, we'll be talking about, Red Bull Homeground results, I suppose, because it's only a weekend tournament, and probably some other dumb shit. We'll see you then.
Yay!
Bye.